أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على قتلتهم وأعدائهم أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, my name is al-Habib, coming to you live from the minor land of Fadak. I welcome you back to the al-Habib show, where we will be covering live the latest Lady of Heaven updates as they come in from our reporters from across the United States. Dear brothers and sisters, I come to you with these beautiful bisharat, with these beautiful words that we've heard from those who have watched this film. We have multiple brothers and sisters who have watched the film and conveyed their story and their review after watching the film. It has been an astonishing and remarkable experience for many. They expressed that they did not expect what they saw from the film. Yes, they may have thought that this is going to be a film that is about Lady Fatima alayhi salam and about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa and this is the story, etc. But it's not going to be, challenging or parallel or trying to, infiltrate itself into the high caliber of films. We expect it to be something like Mukhtar al-Thaqafi series. We expect it to be something like for example, Film al-Risala, the Message film, or like these biblical films that are often done with millions of pounds or millions of dollars budgets. Yeah, this is what we expected. But when they sat on their chairs, laying back in their AMC cinema, watched the film, they were startled. Absolutely, very, very impressed and taken by shock to the beautiful quality of the film and the storyline and how we fitted 23 years or 10 years, how we fitted 10 years of the Prophet's life and the events that occurred during these 10 years in 2 hours, 21 minutes, or just the historical, and we would say, for example, 1 hour, say 30 minutes. Perhaps a little bit more than that, 1 hour, 45 minutes. So they were absolutely, startled. Such beautiful cinematography. And the storyline, how the team fitted it together. It was a beautiful experience for many, and many had expressed that the Shias in the cinema, of course, being Shia, they cannot but, when seeing Imam Ali alayhi salam in battle, started to chant, Ya Ali. And others, when they saw Fatima alayhi salam, that beautiful, beautiful scene when the marriage took place between the Lady of Heaven Fatima and Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Muhammad, sending blessings upon Muhammad and his purified progeny. And when it came to Umar ibn al-Khattab and his ugly companion, of course there were these Rafidi remarks coming. And of course, when it came to the scene of the attack on the Lady of Heaven, we've had reports from inside the cinema that it was almost like a Husayniyah. People started to shed tears over what's happened to the lady, and it is for the first time, dear brothers and sisters. Embrace this moment. Embrace this moment carefully. It is for the first time that the buried story, a story that has been buried
sorry to interrupt.
so deep in the books.
Very urgent.
Yes.
We have the executive producer of The Lady of Heaven joining us on Zoom right now.
Excellent,
Brother
mashallah.
Hussein Ashmir.
Ashimiri, yes, yes, Brother Hussein Ashimiri. Is he with us right now?
He is.
Excellent. Let's have him, inshallah. If you can sort out what needs to be sorted out from that end. Brother Hussein, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you, dear Brother Hussein, to the show, and it comes to us as an honor to have you and guest you, dear brother. Can you give us some intel quickly, because I know your time is quite short. Can you give us some intel as to how has been the reactions of the people upon watching this great film?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. My brother Sheikh Ali, how are you? I hope you're well.
May Allah bless you.
Very good to see you. It's very good to see you, and I would like to congratulate you and congratulate all your viewers on this remarkable achievement. And in fact, it genuinely has been a remarkable one. It has not only been a remarkable achievement, but a remarkable journey for the brothers like myself that worked in this particular project very closely. To go into your question, I would like to reiterate or convey some of the messages that I've had from brothers all over the world. Brothers that have seen the film are ecstatic. I'm not sure why, but some of them are wanting to go back and see the film again today. I can only imagine that they are enthusiastic about the story and their excitement for having seen it, because let's not forget, majority of the people that have heard about the film, Brother Ali, have been anticipating this moment for some years now. So it's I don't blame them, but the reviews so far have been a positive one. I've had many messages of thanks and congratulations. I hope that the lady herself accepts this small token from us. So somehow it doesn't do justice, Brother Ali. I don't know how to put it in words. With all the effort that we've put in years, it's still, I don't believe that it's enough justice for this lady.
Yes, indeed. It is a dream that has come true, bihamdillahi ta'ala, and it is truly that to know that this story has been buried for over this long period of time, for over a millennium, and has not been revealed until now. One really truly feels that he has fallen short in working to disseminate the voice of the lady after years of suffocation, rather. Brother Hussein, as an executive producer of this film, can you give us your part that you took in the making of this film?
Yes, of course, Brother Ali. And I want to also make your viewers aware that though this film was a few years in the making, the idea in inception, in fact, was over a decade ago. And to some, this may come as a surprise. Over a decade ago, this idea was first brought about, and this for me makes the success that little bit more bittersweet, if you like. But inshallah, having crossed this hurdle, I anticipate that all future productions will not take as long. So I can tell your audience that stay tuned. Inshallah, we have bigger and better projects to come. Going back to your question, Brother Ali, my role at the beginning was, bearing in mind that we started from a blank canvas. We are a fairly new production company within this industry, though we have various different media outlets, as I'm sure the brothers are aware. of what they are, Fadak channel, etc., etc. But as a cinematic production, this was our first production. So we pretty much started from new, and we had to do a lot of filtering, if you like. So a lot of my time in the beginning went on recruiting a team that would work closely with us and be very, because look, when you're dealing with directors and you're dealing with producers, what they're usually used to is for a production company to give them a set amount of money and say, right, go off and this is what we want. And it's left to their own to do it. Now, we couldn't obviously do this in this case. We had to follow and be, always on board and make sure that everything is done meticulously to our Islamic traditions and how things need to be done. So recruiting those people that would allow this to happen was very difficult, Brother Ali. A director doesn't never like to be told what to do. There's always that cliche around the artisticness around a director. He's the one that bosses everyone around on the set.
Correct. Yeah.
And you can imagine during certain scenes when they're being shot, that there is a director, cameraman. There's like hundreds of people on set. You've got the actors, and then all of a sudden something's not done to what we feel is our Islamic tradition.
That's actually one of the questions that I had prepared for you. I wanted to say that, of course, considering the Islamic strictness that we implemented on this film, how did the other parties kind of accept this? Did they come to understanding or did they feel that no, we want to expand, we want to do what we feel what is best for the film? How did you surpass these challenges?
The one word that comes to mind, Brother Ali, Sheikh Ali, was patience. We had to exercise a huge amount of patience with this particular team, because to a certain degree, we understand that some of these professionals have never done things like this before. They're not used to doing an Islamic film. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you're aware and your viewers, there aren't many around. There are not many Islamic films around. So when an Islamic film that abides by strict Islamic traditions, and you give it to Westerners and you want it to be a Western film, it is a very, very difficult exercise to do, and it genuinely does require a huge amount of patience on both ends. And I think working with Matthew and John, over time, we understood them and then they understood us. And that helped move things forward. So, to give you an example, before a particular scene was shot, if let's just say John or Matthew wanted to do things slightly differently, he would make sure that we would be okay with it before it's actually done. It's like Hussein, would we be okay to do it like this? And would we be okay to do it like that? And to a certain degree, you have to understand, these Western directors and producers are not of the Islamic faith, Brother Ali. So, it was also an educational process for them. And you would see from some of the behind the scenes videos that this in itself brought them closer to the lady, because they had to bring themselves in that part, in that era, to understand what we were trying to achieve. And that really, really is important. It actually defines, in my opinion, the difference between a successful director, producer, and one that unfortunately isn't able to produce what he set out to.
Brilliant. You mentioned that they felt they became closer to the lady, or closer to understanding the lady after the film was complete, after all the post-production efforts and work took place, and we finalized the film. When you finalized the film for the first time, and the producers watched it for the first time, how do you think that they have resonated with the story? Because I understand that when one is undergoing production, despite having the script, despite knowing what the accounts of the film, the phases in there, it really doesn't fit in until you see the full picture, even though there is, you know, preparation before that, the artist, you know, draws the scenes, etc. But it really starts to kick in, as they say, when you see the full film for the first time. Well, when they saw the first film, and including you, how do you feel was the reaction?
Well, Brother Ali, the truth is, when you're dealing with professionals that are within this industry, the thing that separates them to us is that when they are given a script and a budget, they can actually see what it is going to turn out like. You know, people like myself in the beginning, this was something that was quite difficult to envisage. But for them, I don't think it was as much, to be fair. But what I can tell you is that when they first read the scripts, and then after our initial interviews, right at the beginning, some of the responses was quite profound. I wasn't expecting it, in all honesty. I mean, one thing, you know, your viewers and yourself have to remember is these are non-Muslim, you know, people. These guys probably have never heard of the lady before. They've heard one narrative of Islam, which is probably mostly portrayed in the media. So this was completely a new take on them, for them. And it was a challenge to begin with. However, I think it was more a sense of joy and proudness when the film finished, that, you know, after all the challenges, you know, let's not forget, we, you know, banging right after the production, just before we're about to hit post-production, you know, you get COVID that comes in. And at the time, these seasoned veterans within this industry literally turned around to us and said, we don't know where to go from here. Now, that's a very, very difficult thing to hear, because it was new for everyone. You know, nobody had ever heard of lockdown, probably only in the movies. And even at that, it would have been sci-fi movies, you know? So it was a challenge. So having seen and got to the end, it was, the only way I can put it was a marathon. And, you know, when you cross that line at the end, it's that, you know, fist you punch in the air. And I think the whole team felt like that. And everyone pat everyone in the back. I had messages sent to me directly from various people from the team, you know, all the way from the production company down to the people that worked with us on a daily basis to congratulate us and how proud they are to have worked on this. There are companies that have even took screenshots. I mean, these are major, huge production companies that have worked on, you know, blockbuster films, have got a poster of the Lady of Heaven that they've hanged on their walls in these offices in the US and elsewhere. So I think generally for the Rafida community, for the Muslims in general, that this is an achievement that one should be proud of. And today is a milestone, and we should only be looking upwards and onwards from here.
That's great. And indeed, we should be. Last two questions, and we'll conclude here because I know your time is short. What do you hope, after now the film is out, what do you hope for this film to achieve? What do you think the impact of this film will achieve? And do you think that there will come a time where the lady is seen and or deemed as an icon that can be learned from by people from various backgrounds?
Well, Brother Ali, I think it's worth noting that my position personally has never been to push our faith to anybody. I have many friends from various different backgrounds, some that are very dear and close to me. They all understand what I believe in. They all understand why I believe it. And there is always a mutual respect between myself and them. My goal, I suppose, or what I wish for to come out of this is for these like-minded individuals to go in to see the film. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, one could go in and watch the film and make up their own minds. I think most most and pretty much, if not all, decent people would go in and sympathize with the lady. And that's really what I set out myself personally to do within, within this production, within this project. I wanted people to go in and see what the lady had gone through and to sympathize with it and to understand that there is a narrative that this did happen. Unfortunately, a lot of people just didn't know it. I've lived in the West my whole life. I've traveled the world, every inch, every corner of it. And, I'm very close to my faith. I get asked all the time about my faith. And when things like the story of the lady is mentioned, it's always a question mark. I see blank faces looking at me. And this was what I wanted to do. And I hope I've achieved this with my brothers. As to whether the lady herself would become an icon, yes. However, I urge all my brothers from all over the world to understand, if you use the expression, the English expression, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
We need to make much more of an effort. The Rafida community need to work together. This is a milestone, like I said. However, the finish line is very far away. Our Imam, Salamullah alayhi, is still waiting for us to do more and more. And there is a lot more to do. But yes, this is a huge, important milestone. People will see this film. People will see what happened to the lady, understand the patience that she has gone through, the message that she has tried to convey, and they will sympathize with her. Like I said, for me, I wish people to watch the film and become a Muslim Rafida Shi'i, but also live in the real world. This doesn't necessarily mean it will happen. But if people were to start a journey from this, then I think, Brother Ali, we've become successful.
Inshallah, more films to come down the line and more prosperous future for you and for Enlightened Kingdom as a whole. Hussein al-Shimri, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Sorry, before you leave, we have a question.
You have a question? Okay.
Yeah.
You may
We have
relate.
a question from the chat. Sorry, can you hear me? Just checking.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother.
Great. Someone from the chat asks, can sorry, just 1 second. Some actors. How did some actors react to playing controversial roles, and did any turn them down?
Sorry, repeat the question.
Sure. How did some actors react to playing such controversial roles, and did any turn down the role?
Right, that's actually a very, very good question. I'm not sure actually how much of this I'm allowed to share, but there was challenges. I must admit, we were. I mean, the whole casting experience was, a story in itself. When it came to some of the more controversial characters, some took it on very easily and, grasped it and ran with it. And some were hesitant. What I'm also going to say, without having to diverge much, some were sacked on the scene. So it was very diverse. It was quite complicated. There were many questions asked. However, when some of these questions were asked, the production team, the producers, they worked fantastically well to reassure some of these cast members. And the ones that were hesitant eventually succumbed and did a fantastic job. The ones that grasped it and ran with it also did a fantastic job. And unfortunately, when I say there was some, it was one particular incident that we had on set that was a bit unfortunate, and the brothers in the production team dealt with it very, very quickly. And that was it. But these things, look, I mean, if you're in this world and if you deal with productions, you will see that this happens all the time. I mean, all the time you see things happening that one hasn't accounted for.
Thank you. A viewer asks, why is the film R-rated?
Well, unfortunately, that's not down to us. It's down to the US governing body that certifies these films. when I think the UK is about to certify the British Broadcast Association. I'm not sure where they would give it. And it really is, give and take. You really don't know what they come up with. Many times, seasoned directors or producers believe it will be a particular rating, and then they decide that it's something else. It's completely, not down to us, unfortunately.
Someone else asks, I'm living in the UK. How can I watch this film?
Right, that's a question that's asked quite often. Unfortunately, you can't watch it right at this moment unless you travel to the US. You will have the opportunity to see it here. However, because of COVID, it's causing us a little bit more difficulty than usual. At this time now, there were huge blockbuster films that just came out. We didn't want to clash with these guys, but we're working with a very well-known cinema chain. And the best thing I can say is coming near you soon. So just bear with us.
Yeah. And finally, we have a question coming in from someone in Michigan saying, when will they be able to watch the movie in Michigan, United States?
Well, it all depends on their availability. I'm pretty sure there is a cinema in Michigan.
There is, yes.
Yes,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure there is. Now, like I said earlier, because of the availability of screen time, we couldn't be in every cinema in the country. We were in majority of the cinemas in majority of the states. So if the brother was to have a look at the AMC cinemas in Michigan on their website, I'm sure he'll find a screen close to him that's able to show the film.
Great. And the final question, I believe, it says, whose idea was it to show the Prophet's face?
Right. I mean, this is, again, another question that does pop up many times. I mean, the whole production, everything initially started from the script, and the script was written by His Eminence, Yasser al-Habib. However, when it was then filtered down to, the executive producers, the producers, directors, and pretty much everyone that worked on it, nobody really questioned it. Actually, that was one thing we were all very excited about, because this was never done before.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we were all left scratching our heads as to why it had never been done before, and especially why it hasn't not been done now. This is a great opportunity where the technology now is available to portray a digital face, a CGI face, a beautiful face of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Just two more questions, and I promise that'll be the end. I know you're
I'm going to start charging you for this.
The first question would be, what about Toronto, Canada? When will the movie be available then, or there?
Right. So North America would probably merge with the European territory. So that will be hopefully in sometime in the early months or the mid months of next year. I mean, don't take my word in stone, but that's what we're aiming for. It does really depend. It does really depend on the budget. I mean, let's not forget that this 16 million budget was raised from people like yourself and the brothers that are watching this program. Their generosity allowed us to get to where we can. So unfortunately, if we had the same means as huge studios like Sony or Universal, then every brother around the globe can watch it. But Qadar Allah, we don't have this treasury. But hopefully, inshallah, soon we should be able to.
Yeah. And the last question would be, when will the film be available on online services like Amazon?
Right, on SVOD. We are working very closely with a huge SVOD company platform. This platform is very interested in the film. However, we have slightly delayed negotiations because we are trying to ensure that the film reaches the theaters in Europe, North America, and other territories. We do really want to get it in the theaters first before we get it on SVOD streaming. So that's the plan, but it will happen eventually, just not yet.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my brother.
Okay, so that was Brother Hussein al-Shimari. It is obviously very intriguing to know of these questions and following through with the latest updates. I'm sure people around the world are very eager to watch this film, very asking to when is it coming in my country, when is it coming in the US or Canada. We've had some from Australia, and I'm sure that the brothers in the team, Brother Hussein al-Shimari, as promised, they will work as hard as they can to deliver this film to all. They will not rest until the film is delivered to you. So be assured, inshallah. Brother Hussein, thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother, for
May
having
Allah
me
bless
on
you.
your show. Thank you for having me on your show, Sheikh Ali.
Your voice seemed to have cut. I'm unable to hear the brother. Can you
I can hear you,
fix the
brother. Can you
technical
hear
issue?
me?
Brother Subhan?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I've lost his audio, unfortunately.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, now I hear you. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to say thank you, Sheikh Ali, for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure to take the questions from the brothers and from yourself. I look forward to seeing you soon, inshallah, my dear brother.
Likewise,
And
very much.
please remember us in dua. And I feel what the brothers are feeling when they are asking these questions about the film, because I myself was involved in every aspect of making the film, and yet I haven't seen the film. I sometimes wonder what the brothers that haven't seen the film are going through and how excited they must be. So may Allah grant them patience, but all I can say to them is, inshallah, it will be very well worth the wait.
Inshallah. Brother Hussein, it has been a pleasure.
Likewise, brother.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We presume, inshallah, with our show, that was Brother Hussein al-Shimari. And he has been very generous with his time. Alhamdulillah.
We have another caller.
We have a caller this time.
Not a caller, sorry. We have Brother Yol, if you remember him.
Yoel, I believe. Yoel, right?
Yoel Cohen.
Yes.
He's just coming through now.
Inshallah. We'll be very glad to guest him.
Sorry?
Let us.
We'll just need a second to set everything up.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's in the chat now. So I'm gonna.
Let's see.
Sorry, we're just setting up. Would you like to read out some chat meanwhile?
Yeah, sure. No worries, inshallah. Let's just see. Yes. I think Brother Yoel is with me right now. Is it? Has the technical issues been sorted? Inshallah.
Yeah. Hello?
In the meantime, we will be, inshallah, still covering the latest updates. We have our reporters in the scene right now in multiple states across the US, and they will be feeding us with what has happened. I know that the directors have received some footage, and we will soon be, inshallah, displaying them with you, inshallah.
Yoel should be in now.
Okay. Is Yoel with us right now?
Yoel.
Let's see. Yoel, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Welcome, Yoel. You are on the show. We hear you clearly.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, Alhamdulillah.
Ground is yours. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to congratulate you on the film, The Lady of Heaven. I haven't seen it yet, but inshallah, I will get to see it in Australia very soon. I just have to find a cinema. Also, so I've been studying Islam for quite a few years, and it's been a very interesting experience, to say the least. I went to a Jewish school, and I didn't really, in Australia, where I am, so I didn't have. Well, it's actually a very multicultural country, Australia, and there's a lot of different people of different backgrounds, faiths, and religions. Um, but in general, um, I didn't have too much interaction with Muslims, Christians, and people of other backgrounds. Then one day, I decided, I want to study different faiths and to understand if my faith is the true religion. And I'm still studying. I'm not arrogant or proud to say that I have all the truth and I know everything. If I was, I would be like a prophet, which I'm not. But one day I went to a mosque, which was in Auburn, Sydney. It was called the al-Habib Center. And I went there and I met the Muslims and we spoke about our religions. And I listened to different lectures. Sometimes it was only in Arabic and they had to translate. And that was a very interesting experience. And then soon after that, so I was about 19 years old, and I went to Israel. So I went there to study in yeshiva, which is, I think in Islam you have a thing called a madrasa, which is like an academy or a place where you study.
Yes.
And so I went there and I studied for 6 months, and I went all over Israel. I went to, Sfat was where I was learning, or Safed in Arabic. I went to Beersheba or Beersheba, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, or Al-Quds, Hebron or Hebron. And actually Hebron was a very, very, how do I put it? It was a very tense experience. You saw the Muslims praying 5 times a day, and in Israel they had the speakers on. You see Allahu Akbar, the whole thing on loudspeaker, and it was as a Jew at the time. It's not that you consider Muslims as your enemy, but when you anyone who visits Israel, you feel the tension between the two faiths, Islam and Judaism. And it's not that, I mean, unless you're a Zionist and, and you're anti-Palestinian and you're anti, Islam in general, but for most religious Jews like myself, we have nothing against Islam. We have nothing, we have no animosity towards Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam, or anything to do with Islam in general. If there is any animosity within the Jewish people, it's because of the politics, with the Western media, or in Israel you have Islam is always portrayed as a terrorist religion, So if you talk about Iran, or Iraq, or Saudi Arabia, any of those countries, everyone thinks, a Muslim, if you go too close to them, they'll blow themselves up, or they'll shoot you or something, they'll stab you. So there's a lot of misconceptions about Muslims. And, when I studied the Hadiths and I studied, the Quran, so the Quran is a very common sense religion, and a lot of people find it hard to believe, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, in the world, but Islam treats the people of the book, the people of the kitab, the scriptures, as not as friends necessarily, but they respect them because they were part of the 3 major religions. And if you talk to any Muslim or Jew about the golden age of Spain, even the most Zionist Jew, or the most Zionist person would say, that was a great time. The Jews and the Muslims flourished, and this was great. And our religions are so similar. It's amazing how similar Islam and Judaism is.
You're mentioning very good points actually. it is very precise what you mentioned from a historical standpoint. Muslims and Jews lived simultaneously together in a very peaceful manner. And actually, the film covers this matter, actually. The film, you would know that when the Messenger of God, blessings be upon him and his family, enters into Medina after the migration, he comes with his entourage. And he, after the arrival of Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Lady of Heaven, and he gives a script to Bilal, the mu'adhin of the Prophet, the known figure. And
Yeah, I know the one.
Bilal knows what to do. He goes and he proclaims the speech of the messenger. So he brings forth the writing on the animal skin, and begins to recite this known announcement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he stated that all shall live peacefully, Christians, Jews, and non-Muslims, and they shall live together in righteousness. This is actually a matter that is stipulated in the books of history, and a thing that is very important, and is often unknown actually, is that the Messenger of God, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, actually had two, you can say, very close friends who were Jews. They were very close to the Messenger, and the Messenger used to have dialogue with them often, and they used to be with the Messenger despite being different. And come later, those two Jews, their names are recorded, but now I can't remember them. They, after the demise of the Messenger, blessings be upon him and his family, they came to Islam, they embraced Islam, and they were with Imam Ali alayhi salam in the Battle of Siffin, and they were martyred there. Without a shed of a doubt,
I heard.
yeah, without a shed of a doubt, we as Muslims and Jews, Christians, the Quran actually speaks of showing birr to them, birr, which means having a kind friendship with them and treating them very, very kindly. What you can say the issue lies is a matter of politics. When we look at history, for a long time span, we don't see these problems. We really don't see them from a historical standpoint. But in this age, after 48, right?
48, yeah.
Yeah, 48. The issues with the Sykes-Picot agreement and Israel becoming a state and occupying the Palestinian lands, this is where the spike really emerged. This is where there was a split. When we go back, we don't see the split. We see Jews and Muslims living simultaneously in peace.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's very unfortunate that, not so much in history, but it's very unfortunate that in the Arab Muslim world, there's a conception that, if the Jews are with the Shia, they're the enemies of the Sunnis. And if the Jews are the friends of the Sunnis, then they must be the enemies of the Shia. And it's true that sometimes, Israel will play two sides of the fence. They might, if it's politically to their advantage, they will side with the Sunnis. And if it's politically advantageous with the Shia, then with the Shia. But I myself don't agree with the policy of Zionism. I do believe that Jews should be allowed to live in the land, but I don't believe in stealing the Palestinian land. I don't believe that we should force ourselves to live there. And actually, if you look, actually the Quran even says that because we sinned, because we didn't listen to God and the prophets, so he exiled us from the land. And and we're waiting for the Jewish Messiah. You call him Al-Masih, Al-Masih, I think, and we call him Mashiach.
Mashiach, yes, I know.
And yeah, so we're waiting for the Mashiach to come and bring world peace, or even the Mahdi, the same type of thing, And but the thing is, there's also a thing in the Jewish world, and also even in the non-Jewish world, where you have this stigma between Jews and non-Jews, you know, and it's not that Jews have anything against non-Jews. That's totally incorrect, you know. But there are lots of laws that separate the Jews from the non-Jews, and the reason for that is because, you know, we have to be holy. We have to, you know, separate ourselves from the idol worshippers, the pagans, you know, and we try to live very separate lives to not assimilate, not to intermarry. And so I'll just give you a couple examples. I don't know what it is to our discussion, but I'll just bring it up. There's a law in the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, that, you know, we can't share bread with a non-Jew. You know, and the reason is because if you eat in the home of a non-Jew, even if it's 100%, the fear was that maybe you'll become friends with them, you'll marry them, or your children will marry them, and then the Jewish people will die out. So the rabbis made lots of different decrees that, you know, Jews have to wear different clothes. We have to separate ourselves to a certain extent so that we don't, you know, become too too influenced, you know. And I think Islam has something similar. You know, you can't. I think in the Quran it says not to take the Jews and the Christians as allies. And I know it doesn't mean that you can't be friends with a Jew or a Christian, but I think it means, and you can explain it to me if I'm wrong, but I think it means that you shouldn't become too close to them, because if you become too close, then they might lead you away from Islam, or they might lead you away to maybe oppress the Muslims or something like that. And just quickly, I'll just tell you about my experience in Israel. So I came back from Hebron after the whole thing, you know, visiting there. And actually, it's interesting that in Hebron, 90% of it is Palestinian, 90% is owned by the Muslims, and 10% of it belongs to the, well, I say belongs to the Jews, but the Zionists, you know, that live there. And one week they share the street, and the other street, other week, the Muslims have complete control over everything. And I was coming back from there, and I was sitting at a bus stop, and a guy sits next to me at the bus stop, and I thought he was Jewish, you know. And I said, I don't like these Palestinians. I don't like these Muslims, you know. And I was just ranting and ranting and ranting. And then the guy just listened for like, I think 5 minutes, you know, and he said, by the way, I'm a Palestinian. And I was just completely silenced, you know, I didn't say anything. And he told me, he said, you know, he says, there's no reason for us to be enemies. There's no reason for us to dislike each other. He said, this is just politics. And you know, in the world, you see it even in the Muslim world, you know, you see many regimes, many countries that oppress Muslims, and, you know, and no one wants to stand up against oppression. No one wants to stand up against, you know, what's wrong, what's sinful. And I think I went onto Wikipedia, and I looked at Sheikh Yasir al-Habib's story. You know, I think it said he came from Kuwait, and you know, this miracle happened. You know, he went to jail, and he wasn't supposed to be released, and then he gets this letter that he can be released, but it turns out to be a mistake. Correct. And he quickly leaves the country, and he comes to Britain, you know, and then he starts this whole Islamic revolution. And I'm really impressed and inspired by Sheikh Yasir al-Habib. And so, but to talk about Shia Islam and Sunni Islam, so I started studying Sunni Islam first, because 90% of the Muslims are Sunni. And every time I walked into a mosque or a masjid, you know, I would say, what are the differences between Sunni and Shia? And I say, brother, don't make sects. We're just Muslim. Don't talk about Shias, and that's a cult. That's something that is political. It's got nothing to do with Islam, you know. And you know, I listened and I studied Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, um, and I studied the Quran from just a general basic Sunni perspective. And then I started going further and deeper into the matter. I saw that there are 5 different schools of thought, Hanafi, Hanbali, Jafari, and so on, And so I thought to myself, I want to know the other side of the story. I don't want to just know the Sunni side of the story. I want to know the Shia story. So I started researching, and I had a friend, I think in year 12. His name was Mikhail, and his story is very interesting. His father was not Jewish, but he was of a like a Armenian background, Russian Orthodox Christian, and his mother was Jewish, but she converted to Shia Islam, and she would go to Iran quite often. And we were talking about Islam and about this stuff, and we started talking about the event of Ghadir Qum. We started talking about the different historical things that happened. And what's really interesting is if you look at the time when Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam passed away, so Fatima alayhi salam, she passed away according to a number of hadiths, I think 6 or 8 months after Prophet Muhammad died, and at the age of 18, and people can say, well, it must have been an accident, or it just must have happened by coincidence. But you look at all the events that led up to that. You look at the land of Fadak, I think it was the land dispute where
Correct.
where the inheritance was supposed to go to the Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, and I think, I'm not 100% sure about this, and you can correct me, but I think there was a dispute between whether the inheritance should go to the family or whether the inheritance shouldn't go to the family. It should go to the caliph or the Jama'ah, the community. And you look at Islamic law. Islamic law clearly states, and I think even the Quran says somewhere, it says that Allah commands
Solomon inherited David. That there is inheritance, because they come forth to say that all prophets do not inherit, and what they leave, everything is charity. They came up with this forged narration in order to have all the wealth possible and to basically cut the wings of the revolution. As a short background to the story, it perhaps is beneficial to mention it now, considering that it's related also to the Lady of Heaven film. And you will see, of course, the background and the portrayal of events in the film. The land of Fadak was a land that had a reasonable amount of wealth that comes from it. There were people who lived there, and it wasn't like a small garden or a small piece of land. Rather, it was a city. It was a city that people used to live in, and there was business going on. There was shops, there were houses, as a normal city that would be. And there used to be obviously revenues or wealth coming from the land. And Abu Bakr, being the shrewd politician that he is, now we do mention that Abu Bakr is an evil individual. Abu Bakr is, was ignorant in matters of religion. In the books, as it is narrated, even in their sources, that he did not know certain meanings of the Quran. And of course, the Caliph must be, as successor, must be very well acquainted with the book of the Messenger in order to be his Caliph, in order to be his successor, his representative. He must be very acquainted. That was not in Abu Bakr. However, that is not to say that he wasn't very shrewd. He wasn't very, malicious in his political mind, let's call it. So he recognized very well that if I was to let this land be for Fatima and Ali, they would have one of two things that they need in order to uprise and make my baby government, newly found government, broken and taken out, teared apart basically. One of the two things were wealth, right? They need wealth, and they need men in order to have, remove the usurper from his power. So he realized that with wealth, if I was to cut the wealth, the men won't be interested. Merely for a few selected individuals that are really, that do believe in the story, that do believe in the right of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and are profound supporters of him. The others, I can just, pay them with wealth, and they would go. They're not very interested in having a battle, etc. Especially with all these turbulent events that occurred after the demise of the Messenger. People started to leave Islam. Muhammad is dead, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, therefore there is no more the religion of Islam. It happened in the books. It is narrated, recorded. So it was very easy for Abu Bakr to kind of control a certain companions with money. He paid them off. He paid them off, as we will know in the film, that will be depicted. Other companions, they were strong and powerful. However, he knew that they were a selected number of companions that, one way or another, if we cut the hands or remove the overwhelming support, the scream of Ali as he is the legitimate caliph with money, they would kind of won't be able to do anything without the permission of the leader. So he, Abu Bakr, was very smart in that action, very wicked in that action, where he usurped the land of Fadak, knowing of the wealth that will come from it. And he stated that I heard from the messenger a narration which states that they do not inherit. He stated, I heard the messenger of Allah say, we prophets do not inherit or leave inheritance. We prophets do not leave inheritance, and whatever we have in this life is given charity after our demise. And when it came to the confrontation of Fadak, when Fatima alayhi salam confronted Abu Bakr in that regard, she said, from where did you bring this? I am the daughter of Prophet, I'm the daughter of the man who you are quoting. And he did not say this. And then she states this infamous, or rather illustrious word, لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا. You have come with a great lie. You have come with a great lie. She exposed him right when he was sitting on the pulpit. So he had to resort to people trying to affirm that people did actually hear it. And who did he resort to? Umar, Aisha, his close guard, his close people who would stand up with his rule. Otherwise, none actually had heard this hadith, and rather this hadith goes against the very Quran itself, because the Quran clearly states that Solomon inherited from David, and if prophets do not inherit, as they said in the hadith, then how does it make sense that the Quran goes against what this narration states? And this is why we have this principle in Shia Islam that other sects do not have. Stated to us by our Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, the sixth Imam, that whatever hadith you hear, whatever narration that you hear, put it on the Quran. If it fits well, if it's compatible with the Quran, then we accept it. And if it goes against the Quran, then we throw it against the wall. We don't accept it. This is a short background, a brief background of the story.
Yeah. Also, I would encourage other people to watch the Imam Ali movie that was made a few years ago, I think it was. And it's interesting that the Quran says, I'm just paraphrasing, it says that it is not up to the believer to decide a matter, only the Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
yes, correct,
concerning the person that is appointed. And it's interesting that, Ghadir Khumm happened just at the end of Prophet Muhammad's life. And he raises up his hand and he says, whoever you are wali, he said, yeah.
Oh, no.
Whoever considers me wali, I'm wali of the believers. And then there's many hadith that say, on the Prophet's death, on his deathbed, just before he passed away, the companions said, "Oh, the Prophet's delusional. He doesn't know what he's talking about."
When he asked
And then
to write his will, his final will. This
yes,
is the incident that you're referring to?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then after that, after he passed away, so what happened was the 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 caliphs came together and they conspired against Ali, alayhi salam, and they they appointed their own leader. They appointed their own caliph over Imam Ali.
Mm.
And Imam Ali, he was the most qualified, divinely appointed, and I think there's also in the hadith, there's a hadith called Hadith al-Takalain.
Yes.
And Hadith al-Takalain is the the hadith which many Sunnis base many other fabricated hadith in their collection, and there's a I don't know what you think of Imam Naqshbandi, but he made many lectures about how Ahlul Bayt was taken out of the text. Instead of saying choose the Quran and Ahlul Bayt, it was changed to choose the Quran and Sunnah. And anyway, so Imam Ali's leadership was stolen from him. He was supposed to lead the Ummah. The Ummah would have been all Shia, and they say that there was no Shia and Sunni before that, and Shiat Ali, the party of Ali, um, it only came later, but it means whoever wasn't part of those sects and the Khawarij and all the others who dissociated from Ali. So really, if we apply the term Shia or follower, so really everyone who was on the right path of guidance was a Shia.
We
And
should
it was
have
only
one day
later
a show where we speak about these matters. These are very good and interesting matters about where you are in your research, and
yeah.
where it's very intriguing to see your journey and where you are and what makes you so interested in that regard. But that should be left for a different time. I want to ask you a question here. What
Yeah.
intrigued you to be very profound in your respect towards Islam and the lady specifically, the Lady of Heaven?
Okay, so I'll start with your first question about Islam. So for me, it was the fact that Islam isn't a terrorist religion. It's not a religion that's like ISIS or Daesh. And that was actually, I saw the trailer, where they put the guns up in the air and everyone's running away and they're shooting them. But Islam is I changed towards Islam when I saw the hospitality of Muslims. Well, they treat people properly. That Islam is a religion that has follows civilization, and it's Judaism and Islam is very similar. And when I saw those similarities, I I sort of lost my animosity, I guess, towards Islam. And it's not that I ever was really had animosity towards Islam. I don't have any animosity towards Christianity or any other religion. But you hear certain perceptions within the media, you hear certain perceptions that other people have. And a lot of people, they skim read the Quran, they skim read the Hadiths, and a person has to understand that there isn't just one sect of Islam. There isn't just, one interpretation. There are many different schools of thought. But of course, only one of them can be really on the path of guidance. And the Shiites, the Shia are very different the other schools of thought, in the sense that the imams of al-Bayt, and even today within the Shia world, you find, and I'm not saying Iran is a good or bad example. I know how the Rafida sort of feel about Iran. There's a bit of tension, but I'll just say that out of all the countries in the Middle East, Iran is probably the only country that has Jews there. And I've had many Shiite friends. I've met many Ayatollahs, Shiite imams, and they've always been very kind to me. Always been very kind to Jews that I know of. But of course, Muslims have to fight against injustice, oppression. And what's beautiful is that a Muslim in Iran or Iraq or anywhere in the world, feels pain when he sees another Muslim hurting, suffering. It's not just, this is my country, this is my family, my lineage, and I don't care what happens somewhere else. Another Muslim feels, empathy. He feels pain when he sees suffering anywhere in the world. And when the more I learned about Muslims, I thought they're not so different from me. They're not so different from anyone else. And I realized that we can have interfaith dialogue. They can come to our synagogues, we can come to their mosques, and we don't have to be afraid. I'll just tell you a quick story. So in the yeshiva, where I am, so a number of years ago, we had a Muslim who came, and I don't know the full story, but he started praying in the yeshiva, and there's a lot of ignorance among a number of Jews, and I think someone got terrified. He thought, "What's a Muslim doing here? What's a Muslim praying here?" So they called the police, because they would, because there's this irrational fear among a lot of Jews, Iranian Islamophobia. Anyway, but after studying, Islam, and especially being able to come on your show, and of course having dialogue over the years with Muslims, my entire perception about Islam has changed, and I only have respect for Muslims, and anyone can do something in the name of Islam. Anyone can kill someone. Anyone can steal. It happens in the Jewish religion also. You have people who claim to be the representatives of all Jews, and someone looks at that person and he thinks all Jews are that way. All Jews are the same, and it's not true. There's a famous expression. It's called "two Jews, three opinions," and I've met Jews from all walks of life with completely different ideas. There's not. I don't think there's even one Jew that's the same. If you had,
Of course,
if you
without
counted
a doubt,
all of
yes.
the,
We
if you
understand,
look
and
at
the
all
film,
the
I would say the film will clear a lot. So you had to go through, the sources. You had to go through reading and researching
yeah.
Islam
So
after having your
yes,
friend's story and relation with you. But the
exactly.
film will kind of conclude it all within 2 hours 21 minutes in a beautiful, phenomenal masterpiece of a film, where one would be
I'm
able
looking
to
for.
immediately distinguish between the right path of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he laid out as a religion, and from the path that was deviated and then which we see very startling in our modern day, where we see Muslims carrying out, so-called quote-unquote Muslims, of course, carrying out certain activities of violence and etc. I would like you to shift more on the lady right now. I would like to shift more on the lady. How
Okay.
is your connection with the lady? What makes you so profound in the support to this film?
Well, first of all, I think the film is accurate according to the history, or as accurate as can be. I haven't seen the actual film yet, so it would be dishonest if I said that I knew exactly what was in the film. But I trust that everything that was put into the film was carefully researched,
Mm.
um, based on the best hadiths and the sources. So you know, I'll be interested to see that, and then to do more research into the film. But as for the Lady of Heaven, or Fatima al-Zahra, so Fatima, she is such a beautiful person. You know, she's someone who is humble, someone who is kind, someone who, you know, she's in Hebrew we call it tzedekis, you know, or a real righteous woman. You know, and everything that she did, you know, you have to, you know, even if you never met her, you feel this. Uh, she must have been a very righteous person. She must have been a very holy person, and you're inspired when you will watch the film, I'm sure. But you're very inspired by what's written about her, and you know, and it's very sad and tragic, the history, you know, to see that she was the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, and a lot of people made this point. I mean, how could anyone treat her this way? And you know, all the companions, the Sahaba of Prophet Muhammad, how could they even dare to anger Fatima? You know, a lot of people have quoted the hadith: "Whoever angers Fatima angers me," or the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam. You know, and you think to yourself, you know, the Sahaba are righteous and they're good people, and there was never any sectarian differences even during that time. How is it that you have the Battle of the Camel, you know, or many of these wars that happened between the Sunni and the Shia, and you read the what is it called, Naj al-Balaga,
Balagha, Nahj al-Balagha, yes, correct.
right, that's
Precisely.
right. So you read that and you see how there's it's written in there that Imam Ali was tied on his back or on his stomach, and he was pulled by the horses, you know, as it was riding, and he was you know, being cut and bruised by the earth, you know, that was pulling him. Um, and also, you know, he didn't want to give bayah, he didn't want to give allegiance originally, and he had to do taqiyya. You know, he had to, for the sake of Islam, to save Islam, he had to um, more or less play it smart with the Muslims, because the Sahaba, because um, they weren't interested in ever really electing him as the Hadith, as the Imam, you know, of the Muslims, and they had completely different beliefs about, you know, how the Caliph should rule the Muslims. You know, we see that the tyrants and the corrupt leaders, you know, and he lived separately, you know, with Fatima, and he had children, and he had different followers even, you know, in the Middle East. And you think to yourself, why would he do that? Why would he separate from the Muslims? Why would he separate from the Khilafah and have all these other wars? And then tragically, he was murdered, you know, and killed in Kufa, oh sorry, Karbala, and you know,
Kufa,
you
Kufa,
see
you're right. Kufa.
oh, that's right,
Yeah.
okay. You see Sunni discourse, you know, the channel that tries to make out all these different scenarios, you know, about how it must have, how everyone was just confused, and they try to downplay it like like, you know, they didn't know who Imam Ali was, and they didn't know. I think they come up with these conspiracies, Ibn Saba, and all the rest of it.
You know,
You know,
the film
and
will kind of you know, bring that to light, what you mentioned, and of course some of what you mentioned is a bit you know, it's a little, it varies with the actual sources, but of course I can understand that you're coming from a, you know, you're reading the sources and you're trying to understand, although it's, you know, it's a completely different corpus, completely different literature than what you have, but the film will depict some of what you quoted actually. Um, but the Imam alayhi salam actually did not accept to pay allegiance. That's something that is denoted.
okay,
Yeah, it's well, actually well stipulated that the Imam actually did not refuse to pay allegiance, and rather did not practice taqiyya at all. He profoundly isolated himself in his house for 25 years, and hence why you see that there isn't any you know, there's always a, you know, clash between the household of the Prophet and the government. And that's actually quoted by a known figure by the non-Shias from the Bakri side, the so-called Sunnis. They have a scholar called Ibn Khaldun, and he writes in his book, his history book, and it's very revered. It's a very heavyweight, history book. He writes that Ahlul Bayt, the household of the Prophet, have shifted from the government and had a methodology of their own. And this is exactly what you mentioned. Yes, we have our own, belief system. We have our own creed, narrated to us by the very grandsons of the Messenger. That's what differentiates us. We have, for example, in the exegesis of the Quran, we take it from the grandsons. They take it from fallible scholars, and that have not even seen the Prophet. They take the exegesis of the Quran from the likes of, Muqatil ibn Sulaiman, for example, or Mujalid, or these figures, and they did not actually meet the Prophet. And who is to tell us of the religion better than the very grandsons of the Messenger? That is where we are coming from. I wish you a very prosperous journey in your research, and I would urge you to continue reading and researching, and perhaps there will be another time where we can guest you once again and learn from each other and carry on this healthy dialogue. And I pray that one day you will join the Tava and you will be embraced by the Rakhamim of the Almighty. And I wish that you have a prosperous future, inshallah. Thank you very much, brother. You're well.
Amen. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you very much. Wa alaikum. Thank you. Are we back? Sorry, I think there was a technical issue here. Are we back? Yeah. Okay, we are back. Sorry, we apologize. We are here, dear brothers and sisters, and we continue our live coverage to the Lady of Heaven film. You can see that there's a lot, mashallah, going on in the chat, which we are unable to keep up with. We will continue, inshallah, but just to reply to some of the mentioned points by Brother Yoel. He mentioned a verse in the Quran that states, something to the effect of we should have certain, we shouldn't take the Jews and Christians as allies. Actually, that verse is taken out of context from that standpoint. If you read in Surah Mumtahana, verse 9 in our numbering, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly states that if there is no issue for you to take as allies those who do not fight you and those who do not basically make you exiled out of your land. If I can pull up the translation of the verse quickly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of your religion and do not expel you from your homes from being righteous towards them and acting unjustly to them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. In the rough translation of the verse, you can say, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually does not forbid us to show kindness and show a sense of, mutual respect and to take as allies Jews and Christians who are not combatant, who are not fighting or vigorous against the Muslim because of his religion or because they want to exile them from their land. It has been proven, rather, from historical standpoint, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had two companions that were Jews, and these Jews were very respectful, therefore taken as allies. However, those Jews who actually like Banu Qurayza or and the other tribes who sought to betray the messenger after the covenants was set and stipulated.
So sorry to interrupt. We have brother
yes.
Abbas on who published.
We will have him shortly, inshallah.
Sure.
Yes, we will have him shortly, inshallah.
Sure.
We after to conclude here quickly, after the covenants, this is where the conflict happened between the Messenger of Allah and that tribe specifically, Banu Qurayza. Otherwise, if one looks at history, if one looks at the very lives of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ali ibn Abi Talib, blessings be upon him, we see that very much there was a mutual respect between the Jews, and they lived very peacefully. No kind of animosity occurred between them, and hence why the Quran recognized them as people of the book. We have Brother Abbas, if I can see, if we have him today. Oh, this is Abbas, mashallah. I know this brother.
Yes.
I've seen
Assalamu
his reaction today, actually. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, really? Wa alaikum
Yes.
assalam. How are you, brother?
I welcome you to the Ali al-Habib show. How are you doing?
Glad to be here. I'm doing well, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm glad to have you. I've briefly seen your reaction today, actually, and I'd like to see it in action. Perhaps for those who have not watched the film and have not watched your reaction, what can you tell us about watching the Lady of Heaven film for the first time?
Well, my video was around 20 minutes long, but I can shorten it up for you guys, I believe. Just to start off, I wanted to say that I was very surprised that the movie accomplished what it did. And I felt amazed after watching the movie that it actually did achieve the goals that I think the movie set out to do initially when the project was started a long time ago. And that was to inform people of our true narrative of what happened in Islamic history, and also the importance of Sayyidah Fatima Salaamullah alayha within Islamic history as well. In regards to the film itself, I was blown away in certain scenes, how they were produced in the cinematography and things like that. I just felt so emotionally moved in certain times. And I mentioned in my review video that it wasn't just me that was feeling it inside. You could actually feel this emotion coming out of the audience as the movie scenes were progressing towards whatever events were happening and the oppression that was happening to the Lady of Heaven. I could hear other people crying and weeping in the audience itself. So it was quite a different feeling to actually see how this film brought people together and also motivated us to learn from the Lady of Heaven.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It's good to have, and it's lovely to hear this. Can you tell us a little bit about what are the most scenes that were striking to you?
Yeah, I definitely have two favorite scenes. My first favorite scene was the scene of the Yemeni cloak, so Hadith al-Qissa, which they showed, where the Holy Prophet himself was under this Yemeni cloak he asked for. He brought his son, Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and then Sayyidah Fatima, the Lady of Heaven, under that cloak, and then recited the verse 33 of the Holy Quran, where he says that Allah will purify his progeny from all sin with a thorough purification. What was striking about the way that this scene was shot was how intimate it was. Like, it really felt like an amazing experience, like you're really under the cloak with these 5 infallible people. The way that it was shot up close, and you can see the small little reactions that meant so much, how it was bringing them together as a family, and of an exalted family. And I was just so moved by the way that it was shot, and then also it transitioned as well into like this cosmic experience. So it seemed like it wasn't just something that was happening in the house of the Prophet, but also something that is changing the course of history, and for this dunya and akhirah, it's so meaningful. So that was one of my favorite scenes. Another one of my favorite scenes was the Battle of Uhud, of course, because I really like action, the way that Imam Ali was acting on the battlefield, how he was going on one-on-one mutual combat. You can see a little bit of it in the trailer itself for the people who haven't seen the movie. I just got to say that the way that it was done was in the movie was really exciting. And to show the contrast, this is one of the favorite things that I like about Imam Ali is he's not a one-dimensional person, you know? A lot of people are happy with their Islamic figures of being just brute warrior heroes, right? But alhamdulillah, for Shia Islam, we have people who are imams who are multifaceted. They don't just have this one dimension of being strong and brutal, but they also have the capacity of being wise and patient. And that's what was striking about this movie, is it showed both dimensions of
You
Amir
said it
al-Mu'mineen
beautifully.
alayhi
You
salam.
said it beautifully. You know, it's actually there in the narrations or in the reports by scholars that written that the character of Imam Ali alayhi salam matched between actually qualities that can be conflicting. A very powerful warrior, yet a very kind individual and very generous. A very patient individual, but a very staunch and sharp at sometimes. What we call is jam'un bayn al-aldad, which is a quality, we're grabbing qualities that are seemingly conflicting, but in one character.
That is amazing. Yeah, it's almost like yin and yang. But exactly. And what also was profound is the way that it makes you feel as a person as well, watching, say, the Fatima and Imam Ali alayhi salam, how they live. It really makes you reflect on your own life and try and incorporate their certain characteristics and attributes into your own life. Like, I want to be someone who is brave and strong like Imam Ali alayhi salam, but also someone who is wise enough to see things for what they are and make the wisest decision in life. And that's exactly what I got out of the film, was to see that stark contrast in all of the characters of
How
the
did you feel?
personalities. And
Yeah, go ahead. You were completing.
I kind of forgot, but it's okay. You can
No
continue.
worries. I'm sure we'll come back. How did you feel for the first time after seeing that this buried story, this story that has been, hidden in the books for a very long time, comes to light, and finally the voice of Lady Fatima is heard? Her stand, her sacrifice is told at a unanimous scale, at a grand scale. How did you feel? Did you feel that this is truly a achievement? And what do you expect? I would ask, what do you expect after non-Muslims, academics from around the world, from various backgrounds, watch this film? What would they learn from the story and from the lady's stand?
For sure. It was groundbreaking, I would say, because I don't believe anything like this has ever been done before. So this is completely novel, to share this story on such a level. Like, we as born Shias, or people who are born Muslims, have heard about the Lady of Heaven and her story when we commemorate it in our Husseiniya in mosques and things like that. But it's completely different when you involve the greater society, which we know that Ahlul Bayt were sent for, not just for us as Muslims, but they were sent with a universal message for all of mankind and the jinns, for example. So just having it out there for the first time it's crazy to think about, because like you said, this story has been it's been buried by people for centuries. They try to remove it from their books. They try and censor whatever narrations we have in our scholarship. So this movie is doing kind of the opposite. It's almost undeniable because of this film. It's going to spark interest by people who are non-Muslims. They're going to see this film or the trailer, and they're going to be interested about who this lady is and why she is so profound and how come we've never heard of her. So it's going to start that domino effect, inshallah. And you'll see in the wider community, people are going to start asking who this lady is, and they'll become more interested in Islam, and that's their path to the akhirah.
Inshallah, that's great. You being there in the cinema, I want you to give us a holistic reaction of the audience as the scenes are being played. I'm sure now that you've seen the scenes, the scenes, you've watched this, I'm sure they're very fresh in your mind. The reactions to the scenes, like when, let's start, for example, let's start with when they first immersed into the historical standpoint, when they went to history, when the lady's speaking, the grandmother, and speaking to Laith, the boy. when they first went back in time, what was the reaction? And then when it comes to the Battle of Uhud, what was the reaction? Seeing Imam Ali alayhi salam in action, fighting, what was the reaction?
It was just
Tell us.
incredible because of the transition that they did from the modern day to the era in the past. I like that they tied in the modern day conflict to the historical narrative and how history basically repeats itself. And that was one of the main things, because obviously once you understand that, then you can understand how you can learn from history. Yeah, so I just wanted to say about the audience, it was a mixed audience. There were non-Muslims there too, but the demographics were like, I saw kids who were like 8 or 9 year olds, little hijabi girls with their families there, as well as people who are well into their 80s and stumbling to get into the theater in order to show solidarity with the Lady of Heaven by watching this movie. So I was taken back by how, again, that community aspect, by the Fatima and the al-Habib bring people together like that. But when it transitioned to the Battle of Uhud, you could hear just pin drop silence because of how intense the battle scenes were, right? How it transitioned to the battlefield with the pagan and the Muslims on opposing sides, and how just intense it was. And you can feel it growing and growing until finally the climax of the battle that happens, and Imam Ali alayhi salam grace and prowess. And then it progressed from there. And there was changes in, I like how there was changes in the emotions that you're going through. So you go through sort of intensity and shock of the Battle of Uhud. And then it also goes through like the marriage of Sayyidah Fatima with Imam Ali, which was so intimate and so nice and beautiful. It was so tranquil to watch. And you could tell that it was just a coming together of two lights, you know, the holy Nur. And that scene, the way that it was shot and so bright and beautiful, it was something that you just really had to take in. And then obviously it grows to something more gloomy. As we know, Islamic history happens, and then the usurpation of the caliphate and the attack on the house of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. You could hear the emotions starting to grow in the audience, and you can hear people whispering under their breaths, like, I hope this does not happen. There was one person behind me, I remember, when the attack on the house was happening. And at that point, you could feel that people's emotions were really up to the brim and they're about to explode, because it was such a powerful moment. The way that it was shot, it really, really showed that. So I couldn't help myself from crying at that point. My tears were drawing profusely out of my eyes. I couldn't stop them because of what I was seeing and just experiencing. The person behind me just shouted from the back, Ya Zahra! And it could be heard all the way in the front of the theater from the back row, like 35 rows or something like that. And then the audience repeated, Ya Zahra, when she was being attacked. And it just made me cry even more profusely, because it shows how much these people care for this Lady of Heaven, how much of an impact she has on us in terms of our religion and what we learn from her. So, like I said, the emotions were happy and sad and all over the place, but that's what makes a great film as well too. So alhamdulillah, it was done really, really well.
This is really uplifting to hear. It's beautiful to see that people from various backgrounds, different ages, different religions are going to watch this film and learning from the lady's story. Actually, yesterday we had a reaction from an American individual who we had spoken to, and he said that, I asked him, I said, oh, you know, how do you feel after, what's your reviews after watching this film? You know, how did you feel the film was? What's your opinion on it? And he says, I came out of the cinema inspired to do what is right. And then I asked him, I said, how did the lady's character resonate with you? How do you feel that you have learned from the lady's stand? And he says that I've learned from her that she done what is right. She has stood for what is right. And that is indeed what we are trying to build in this community. We're trying to make it known for humanity as a whole that this lady stood for what is right. And we ask and we actually, you know, would work towards making the lady and her stand means of learning, and for one to embrace in his day-to-day life, inspired by the lady's character and her stand against oppression, tyranny, and injustice. I'd like to ask you one more question, or let's say two more questions.
Sure, inshallah.
when you saw some of the, let's take it to a more uh, easier level, let's say. When you saw, and I'm sure many are asking about this, when you saw, for example, the character of Aisha for the first time, or you saw Abu Bakr and Umar being
Yeah.
depicted, what was the reaction of the audience, and what was your reaction specifically?
I just couldn't help but laugh when Aisha came up in the scene for the first time. I believe they kept her out of the trailer for a reason because it was meant to be a surprise on how they depicted her. I know it's in line with the historical depictions that we do have of Aisha. She wasn't the best to look at. So when she came up and acting all jealous as she would towards the Ahlul Bayt, and I know narrations about even Bibi Khadija, who she used to be very jealous of, you could see how she was at that mentality of like a rude child and who doesn't really understand the world. And to see that contrast with Sayyidah Fatima and how much love and respect there was between her and her Holy Father. Um, Abu Bakr and Umar, they're also interesting to look at. You could really tell that their character reflected in how they looked as well too. They're definitely untrustworthy individuals. Um,
You know what was
when
very
Aisha
interesting?
first,
I'll tell you this. You know what was very interesting is that when we were gathering, the material for the script, and we created, the script of, we finalized the script and we gave it out to the actors. Umar's role, was there. Abu Bakr was there. Aisha was there, and we, or at least the team in the United Kingdom, were kind of, worried as to how will they be able, the actors, how will they be able to, you know, embrace or withdraw, stomach all of this when they are totally new to the story. They are totally new
right.
to this literature. This is a corpus and a line that they did not, reach yet. We were worried as to how will they be able to merge between, you know, the characters and portray them, depict them accordingly. Specifically with Umar and Abu Bakr, for example, because Abu Bakr, he is an evil individual, without a doubt. He is malicious. He is a person who is power hungry, etc. However, he was also very smart and shrewd. And the other one, Umar, he was this, vigorous figure and very, agitated and very, very. It's there. It's the
Short-tempered.
narrations. It's according to the narrations, of course. His character.
Yeah,
is
and
there.
they're proud of this too.
Yeah,
The Ahlus Sunnah school, they're
exactly,
proud of
exactly. They're
this
proud of
brute
this type of
character and
character
this
from Umar.
short-sightedness of Omar. Like, I don't know.
Exactly, precisely. They're actually proud of this character. This is actually on them, and they recognize that he was like that. So we had worries, but then when we saw them in action, we were like, MashaAllah, they done a really good job, to the extent that we thought perhaps they'd done a little reading outside of the script. That they went outside of the script and they went to the narration, for example, in Bukhari, I don't know, Muslim, and getting acquainted with the character, because they know this is a historical figure. They brought it so beautifully, especially this individual, this actor, Ray Ferron, who took the character of Abu Bakr. Definitely,
he did such a good job of reflecting the slyness and of Abu Bakr.
Yes.
Was
that depicted? Do you feel that that was depicted in the film accordingly?
Absolutely. You could tell that each one had their own role to play with slightly different personality traits. Like, for example, you were saying Omar was the brute, short-sighted one who was always at the front of the violence. Abu Bakr was sort of behind the scenes, controlling people mentally to try and deceive. Even with the scene of the last prayer as well too, he was the one to send. And that was also one of my favorite scenes. He got duped when the Holy Prophet came in and kicked him out.
Yes. Now I want to ask you.
It's quite amazing.
I heard some of your reservations regarding the Prophet's character, Prophet's face, and his depiction. I'd like that actually to be said to the audience. What are some of your opinions that you think could have been done better, perhaps, or what are your opinions generally on some of the things that you felt that could be done or undone?
Oh, well, I'm glad that you're asking me a question about some things that I wasn't completely a fan of. I do understand, and I did see the disclaimer at the beginning of the video about how the depiction of the holy personalities was not done with a single actor. It was done with an amalgamation of the cinematic effects, the lighting, and all these things. So it wasn't just one true person who was depicting it. I also do understand that personification of the holy personalities is not something that's forbidden in Islamic law. I believe that Sayyid Sistani, for example, does allow it if it's done with the proper honor that's given to the Ahlul Bayt. So I didn't have an issue with that. I don't think the movie ever dishonored them at all. On the flip side, I believe it raised their status in the eyes of certain people that may not have known who they were. But it was just interesting because it's the first time that we've seen the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt being depicted. Yeah, the messenger himself specifically depicted in this way. So I still have to sort of understand what my own position is, but I just wanted to say that it was something new. That's not necessarily something bad. It was just giving my first reaction on that review earlier.
Exactly. You know, I asked this question because many have, come to us with this. You depicted the messenger, and because of the background and because of certain limitation that they believe that the messenger should not be depicted, and so on forth, and the history behind it, especially even in the West, when this movie came out about the messenger, that was very disrespectful towards him. And the Muslims got enraged that how could you depict the messenger when he's not to be depicted? You know, I'd like here to utilize this opportunity and say what you have mentioned and a little bit of addition. Obviously, the messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, as mentioned by Sayyid Sistani, or holy figures in general, Sayyid Sistani, Sayyid Fadak, Shirazi, and other scholars, if depicted through unique means, a synthesis of actors and we say actors with an S. It's not it's not one actor, and lighting effects and CGI, of course, that is permissible. So, from a jurisprudential Islamic perspective, we are set, and there is no. It's like a fully halal film, you can say, accordingly. That's from one angle. The second angle is that this film, it must be, set that this film is targeted towards the non-Muslims.
Right. That is something that I've understood.
This is like the main, motivation behind this film. It's targeted to introduce these holy figures for the very first time to non-Muslims. Now, there was struggles as to how we managed to do this, actually. They, even with the character of Lady of Heaven, Fatima alayhi salam.
I've heard about that story, yes.
Yeah, so
it's difficult.
It's difficult. They even in the reviews that we've read, the critiques that I've spoken of the film, they were like, it made a gap between us and the protagonist, the Lady of Heaven, Fatima alayhi salam, due to her face not being, depicted. They were like, we understand the story. Of course, we are not. Thank you very much. May Allah bless you. We understand the story and we understand her stand and her character, but there was this gap between because the viewers, in order to have impact with a character, they must see the face. They must feel like this is a human being.
Well, at least the community in the Western Hemisphere is conditioned in that sort of way. They've been seeing movies for years since they were born, and that's how they connect to people. Unlike the Muslim people who learn to connect through traditions, narrations, and ahadith, which is without any pictures or depictions and things like that, we can take a lot more from just simply words. But from the non-Muslim world, obviously they're conditioned in order to take from things that are more visual in a manner. So I believe that is another reason why this film is good for the West, because it's kind of catering to their mindset,
Exactly. It has to be to their standards. It has to be to their standards. And we strived so much for that. And we actually made a breakthrough, as reported in the news, in the critiques, that for the first time we made a CGI face that looks very realistic, really. When one looks at it, it feels like, I'll even mention this, that when we first sat down with, people to contract the film, or to help disseminate the film and promote the film, when they first saw the trailer and they saw the Prophet Muhammad's face, they were like, oh wow, this is very, they actually did not recognize that this is this face is created through unique means. Until we actually showed them,
I would not have known.
The drafts of, the creation of the CGI efforts and etc. They were absolutely astounded that, wow, you have created for the first time, a very realistic face and made groundbreaking achievements in that regard. Hence why we got the Best Visual Effects Award in the Cannes Film Festival by Forbes magazine.
Yeah, I can totally see why.
Alhamdulillah,
it wasn't just the personality CGI as well. Other scenes in the movie also incorporated 100%. Some very good visual effects.
Of course, Hadith al-Kisa as well, of course, so that's a doubt. A very beautiful, remarkable scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, why would we go ahead and try to depict the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why do we go ahead with that? That is because we want the viewer to be affected and have built this connection with the character of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the character of the Commander of the Faithful, blessings be upon them. As long as it is Islamically legitimate, there is no issue with that whatsoever. It is actually, I would regard it as our duty to do so. If we really want to have this impact, and if we really want one day that the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family is taken as icons for humanity, being learned from, inspirational people that the people build their character from. I want to be like the Prophet Muhammad. I want to be like the Commander of the Faithful, Ali. And of course, the role model for the woman. What best role model than the Lady of Heaven, Fatima alayhi salam? We have to, make these type of unique measures to introduce these holy figures to them. And alhamdulillah, it came out spectacular and beautiful. And I really do thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this remarkable achievement. And I thank you very much, Brother Abbas. If you were to encourage people to watch the film, or if you were to have a last message, what would you say?
I would say that regardless of anyone says or whatever reviews that you see, you should definitely see the movie on its own. I believe it incorporates things that are relevant for any person, regardless if you're Muslim, non-Muslim, whatever age or whatever demographic or background you come from. Me as a born Muslim, I learned a lot through the film as well too. So there's something for everyone. You should definitely go out and watch the movie, inshallah.
Thank you very much, Brother Abbas. It has been a pleasure.
You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Brother Abbas, I believe, from the United States or Canada. And at the heart of the scene after watching the film, that was his review. One can also go to YouTube, and I believe he has uploaded his review earlier today. One can refer to his video and watch the prolonged version of his review.
Sorry, Brother Ali.
Yes, brother.
The last caller was about half an hour long, and we have a lot of people on the line. So if we could make it more, directly to the point and shorter, that would be much appreciated by the viewers.
Inshallah.
Also, to add on that, we have 3 pieces of media, breaking news of people that just came out of the theater right now, which I'd like you to react to, if that's possible. That's
possible, inshallah, but after a small break. Let's have a small break, inshallah, sure. And we'll be back with the media.
Great. All right. Let me know when you'd like to go to break.
Now. Let's have a short break, inshallah. We'll have a short break, 1 to 2 minutes long, and we'll be back, inshallah. Let's play the liberation of the Shia individual, inshallah.
Sure.
Max. Merci. Thank you. I'm so happy to see The Lady of Heaven. Amazing trailer today. Thank you so much for sharing this at the Cannes Film Festival. For me, I thought it was very epic in proportion, and also it had such a great faith element. I did not know that much about this special, Fatima. The story, the narrative of who she was and how she fought to help others, and seeing the images, you were telling a story with beautiful kind of like ideas, the white garments that were so beautiful and all those people marching, and then the scale of the movie with the amazing army that was fighting, I thought was really quite great, and the way that was orchestrated, the movement of the movie was great.
The story to me was something that I never knew that existed.
All right.
So just watching the trailer and seeing the history of what took place and the shame that these women had was very impactful to me, because I'm really a supporter of women. I think that stood out to me, that a lady at that time stood up to men who were in charge. I'm just going to say, you know what, I'm a big supporter of it. I didn't know what to expect, but it's going to be a great movie.
It's nicely photographed and it's nicely executed. And you know, you see that it's a very, very good film.
So it was the quality that stood out to you the most? The quality of the production?
Yeah, the quality of production is great.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Excellent. And yourself, sir?
Yeah, same. I think the quality of the production is very good.
Yo, you guys gotta really check this out, man. Yo, it's epic. Epic. The soundtrack alone.
Soundtrack?
Yes.
That's what stood out to you?
Yes.
Lovely.
I know that when it drops, I'm definitely checking it out.
I think it's going to be a really interesting, fascinating movie, and definitely about a person and a subject a lot of people in Western Europe don't have actually any knowledge about. So I think already from this cultural and religious aspect, it's something really worthwhile to watch. So I think already from the educational aspect, that's a great movie. And I congratulate you for
Thank you. Do you have any last comments, anything you'd like to add?
Good luck. And
thank you.
Do more movies like that.
More movies like this. We will do, no worries.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
May I give an example?
To become a treasured family keepsake and leave a legacy to live forever.
Mind-blowing. I mean, just the special effects, the CGI was just incredible, and it's definitely a story that needs to be told. And it really lifted me up by my lapels. Oh boy, just some of those battle scenes were incredible, and then there were just some that were very misty and incredible.
The cinematography was brilliant.
The cinematography was brilliant. Yeah.
Have you heard of the lady before, Lady Fatima?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've heard of her before?
Yeah, and no one has told that story on I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, and so she's on the tips of a lot of tongues.
Yeah, Middle East, they're familiar with her. Outside, not so much. So we're trying to solve that with this film.
Yeah,
lovely.
Great.
Thanks for
you very, very well.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you.
The Lady Fatima, the Lady Heaven. Have you ever heard of her prior to this event? First time you heard of her?
What I really like is that it's working with two different timelines, so it's working in two different time zones.
Yeah,
and
has present and history.
Present and history, and how it tries to combine that.
It is inspiring, and I think this Lady Fatima, she's a strong woman, or she was a strong woman who was inspiring people and is inspiring people today as well.
Definitely.
So this is something that really got me, and what also got me was it felt like tribes, you know, those men fighting each other, this war stuff.
You're gonna think I'm making this up, but I actually had goosebumps. It's epic, and that's quite rare these days. You know, films that say they're epic, they always end up being really close and intimate. A beautiful color palette, beautiful cinematography, and the narrative, the way it's brought into the present day, based on these extraordinary historical events, things I didn't know about at all. It's an unusual one, actually, that people don't describe often, but I felt pathos. This feeling of human connection and the importance of selfless acts.
Have you ever heard of the lady prior to this event?
No, actually, I didn't know she existed. And I was asking you, is this really a historical figure? Is this a person that existed? And now I'm going to be Googling it and finding out the story. And congratulations.
I saw the promo of your film, Lady from Heaven. It's really, really good idea. I wish you all very, very best, because this kind of film is actually adventure films. So these films we all need to see.
Have you ever heard of Lady Fatima before?
Lady Fatima, not. But
do you feel her story is important for the world to know?
Yes, of course. It is a very important story for everybody to watch this film.
I think the production quality is really good.
The sceneries that are shot look amazing. I think, yes, the message that Fatima is trying to convey is very relevant. And I think it's very nice that you put the story of this little boy and his mother in there.
As a story, it really appeals to me because it shows, I think there's a lot of depth and a lot of layers to the story. And I thought visually it looked like an epic, very, very beautiful, very, very lovely. You know what, I'm going to say something here, but she strikes me as a sort of character in the history. She's not a warrior woman, but she was a woman in a time of that men needed softness. And I think that's what came across to me.
Well, I tell you, the story is going to go far because it's just emotional. What are you going to do? Women's suffrage, and hearing a story like that, having it presented to you beautifully and in an in-depth style that makes you feel like you're watching a real movie. You know, I like the action.
The action.
You know, I'm from Texas, and I think the crossover there is the action because that can make both audiences watch it. Keep everybody enthralled and you know, stay there and really watch it into the depth. Okay, so yeah, of course, the action pulled me in. So we're getting the chance to see what this woman actually did. It wasn't fiction to her.
Do you feel Lady Fatima is a historical figure that the world deserves to know about?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for your time today, sir. I really
absolutely. Appreciate it. You know, if I could say anything, go watch the movie.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. We have received some media from the heart of the scene in some of the states across the United States. If we can confirm from the director, what have they received and from what state?
I believe we have some videos from India. I'm not really sure the location, but
India.
We have some, some Indian
No,
views.
I'm referring to what our reporters have gathered. I believe the admin, Abdul Malik, has said that we received a video from Hanan, brother Hanan.
We do have Georgia. That prepped up, but we also have some videos like reacting to the movie that has already, people that have already watched the movie.
Let's first take a video from Hanan and let's see what's going on, what's the report, reports from there, and let's go back with the videos from India, inshallah.
Sure.
If we can prepare it. This live coverage, brothers and sisters, will continue after this short break. We've had, abundant success in, the reactions and the feedback that has come in so far, and we continue, inshallah, to live or cover live the latest and most up-to-date matters on the Lady of Heaven film as it is being screened across the states. If the director can prepare video 1, I believe it is, from Brother Hanan, as he makes his way to the AMC theater. Our Brother Hanan is our reporter from the state of Georgia. He has sent us a video where he is making his way to the AMC theater and will be sending us or updating us as we proceed with the latest updates, inshallah.
I have the video, but it's looking a little bit stretched, and so yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything I could do about that, but we do have the video.
If the video is ready to be displayed and according to standard, then let's display it, inshallah. If you require some time, that's no issues. We can perhaps take some questions from the YouTube chat.
I mean, there's nothing I could even do about it right now, but I think it should be okay to...
Okay, let's go ahead and update the people, inshallah, on what is or what has happened and where we are, inshallah, with the updates of the Lady of Heaven screening. Sure. Let's just play the video, inshallah.
We're excited to go see to watch the video, the movie itself. Inshallah, we'll be there in a little bit. We're right now on our way. And as you can see, we're on a highway. We've been on a highway for a good while. But inshallah, we'll be there very soon. And I'll give more updates and more videos as we go along, inshallah. All right, well, I'll see you then. I wanted to drive on the road a little more safer. safer, so I don't want to get into an accident, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, thank you. I'll be connected again once again, inshallah.
Can you confirm if his voice has been heard?
¿Cómo se llama la movie que vas a ver?
Lady of Heaven. There's a Lady of Heaven. Yeah, no sé.
Okay.
I'm going to watch the Lady of Heaven, and that's what we're going to do now. I'm on my way there now, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, bye.
I'm not sure if you heard that, but he said that he's on his way to the theater right now, and that he will be arriving there shortly.
Excellent, excellent, inshallah.
Yeah.
We will, inshallah, continue to cover the updates from the states of Georgia, and we will continue, inshallah, in our updates. We have, you mentioned some videos from India. Let's display them, inshallah.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be USA, but it's after. It's people that their reaction after watching the video. I'll put it on screen now.
America. Oh, from America. So these are individuals who have just came out from the theater watching the film.
Yes.
That's brilliant. Let's have these videos and let's display them. So just to confirm here, brothers and sisters, that we have received a video from Subhan, if you can
yes,
please I believe we're having some issues we'd like to confirm. If I can have another short break, let's have a 30-second break, inshallah, and we'll be back. If you can just display the card.
Just a second.
Yes.
When I think about the liberation of the Shia, I think about The Lady of Heaven, a film on the life of Lady Fatima, peace be upon her. Her ups, her downs, and all that she went through, her life with the beloved Prophet, and her killing at the hands of Umar, along with her unborn child. What took the Shia so long to tell this story? After countless prophets came and went, killed, their successors betrayed, and communities led astray, the Muhammadan age began. The Prophet's family had one goal: to preserve the light of God on earth, and to ensure this light was crystallized, giving it the momentum to propel into a distant future. Perhaps into a distant future where information becomes immortal, readily available, unerasable, where the world is interconnected through an information network, able to transmit knowledge instantaneously across all corners of the earth. Perhaps into a distant future that we find ourselves in today. But in this era, the Shia have held this truth to themselves. So what answer can be given to why it took the Shia so long? An inferiority complex? A priority to appease others? A lack of self-confidence? A lack of self-identity? A lack of self-awareness? An inability to recognize that what you hold and keep to yourself is the very answer to all the world's problems. A film on the life of Lady Fatima, peace be upon her, may not have been welcomed by the Shia population, but today most value the importance of telling this story. This is what His Eminence Sheikh al-Habib has been teaching and teaches in his 2011 series, The Liberation of the Shia, where he also calls for excellence in all we do, superiority in every field and in every walk of life, honor and dignity in our religion, identity and community. But only once we do justice to the Lady of Heaven can we flourish and give rise to the nation of the Shia, who can truly represent the Lady to the world. This is what I've learnt from Sheikh al-Habib, and this is what I'd call the liberation of the Shia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We are back. If we can confirm whether the videos are ready, I believe some of the videos are ready to be had. But as a quick denotation, I will be taking your questions from the YouTube chats. Whoever who is eager to pose a question, we can, inshallah, be responding after we display the video that we have received from an individual who has just came out from the theater watching the film. What is his reviews? If the video is ready, we can display it now, inshallah.
This movie was very good, flawless, and no objectionable part or anything like that. I will recommend everybody to go there. Please do and watch that movie.
You enjoy it, right?
I love it. I enjoyed it.
Was the message clear?
Message was very clear.
Good, good.
Very clear message.
Do you want?
Muslims should believe that thing.
If you want to watch.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. It is uplifting to hear this brother's voice. Flawless, he said. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. It is truly uplifting to hear your words after watching the film. It's great to see that this film has impressed many Muslims and non-Muslims from various backgrounds and nationalities. We will presume, inshallah, we have a few questions, I believe, in the YouTube chats. Until we receive some more videos to be displayed, let's take some of the questions on the YouTube chat. We have a question from Shukil or Shakil C. He writes, Salams and congratulations on the movie. I'm in Birmingham, UK. How do we get to watch it? Shukil, to clarify, the Lady of Heaven film is now exclusively screening in the US. And shortly after, hopefully, we aim the film is to be spread across other countries in a casual effect, or you can say multiple countries at one go, inshallah. But as of yet, the Lady of Heaven film is only exclusive to the United States. And we will, inshallah, keep you updated with the latest and most, we can say, fast updates to come with regards to dates and release dates across the countries. You can, inshallah, subscribe to the Rafida Plus channel, and we will update you, inshallah, once we get the confirmation that a date is specified for other countries, hopefully in due time and soon, inshallah.
We have a caller?
We have a caller through Zoom or WhatsApp?
Through WhatsApp.
Through WhatsApp. Let's have them, inshallah. Who's with us?
It's Brother Maytham.
Brother?
Maytham.
Mayhem.
Maytham.
Maytham. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Maytham.
Yes, hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome, dear Brother Maytham. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. The ground is yours.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm really happy that, you know, this movie is coming out, and that you guys have, you know, put the time in and the investment in, and soon this movie will be a testimony to a lot of new people that come in here, that come to the faith, and I feel like it will be a testimony for not only, as you said, it will be an academic acknowledgement as far as an icon. It's more than an icon, but, you know, as like the Gandhis and everybody else of this world, because there's no reason why we should be learning or getting taught Gandhi and all these other people that took a stand, but are forgetting. I seen a quote somewhere. They said, you know, if you if a TED Talk can inspire you, but, you know, Fatima Zahra's story, or, you know, Amir al-Mu'mineen, you know, he can't inspire you, then, you know, there must be something wrong. You know, because I feel like I can get all my inspiration from just you know, al-Habib, you know, and yeah, no, this movie, brother, wallahi, it's the pinnacle of what it's gonna be like around the world, just in the methodology of people's heads, people's thinking is gonna be changing now. It's gonna be different, and people are gonna.
Brother Maitham, you are in the US. Have you watched the film?
No, brother. The city where I'm at is not does not have an AMC theater, but
I see.
yeah, I'm kind of mad. I'm very mad about that. Actually, I'm not kind of. But no, I will be. I will be watching it like this weekend, hopefully soon.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
When you do, ensure to record and give your reactions, as well as interview people, especially non-Muslims, after watching the film, and send it to us, inshallah, so that we may present it to the audience. Brother Maitham from the United States, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Yeah, and I just had maybe just a request kind of, or just a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask just maybe two questions if that's okay.
Sure.
So one question is I did so yeah, basically the question basically is, you know how you guys do like once a week the Habib show. If you guys maybe, maybe in the near future could start maybe doing maybe like a few times a week, because I feel like this show is very much needed, to our people. And when I mean people, I just mean people involved, also the followers of al-Habib, because it's just so like needed, this education, this knowledge, and people. And honestly, I don't see someone taking a firm stance, having a live show where people can call in, people can give opinions. It's remarkable. And then that's just a kind of a question request kind of thing.
Thank you
For
very
you
much.
guys.
Inshallah, with your prayers, we will be able to increase the episodes of the show. Inshallah, with your prayers, inshallah.
Yes.
Keep us on your prayers, and inshallah, that will be something
I will.
to work towards, inshallah.
And I just wanted to ask. I've been studying. I've been because I'm a revert to, and I know that all the Ahlul Bayt. I just recently I've been studying about Imam al Hassan and his when he picked up the Kaaba. Because people, when the companions asked him, what's your reality and stuff, and stuff along those terms, it's just crazy how
Who picked
much
up the
they
Kaaba?
don't.
Sorry, if you can say again.
Yeah, when Imam al-Hassan, when one of his companions asked him to show him a miracle, and he pointed at the Kaaba, and the Kaaba stood up off the ground, or not stood up, but not with, but like was floating in the air, something along those lines. And people forget, people they and the scholar somehow was like some way was saying like people forget about the miracles of Imam al-Hassan, but they know the miracles and the power of Sayyid al-Shuhada and Amir al-Mu'mineen, and
without a doubt, the Imams alayhimus salam do have and have done miracles, but not every miracle that is recorded, or perhaps sometimes it is not even recorded. Perhaps it has no historical, report of that regard. Not all of them are authentic. One must put the eye of scrutiny in those reports in order to establish the authenticity, if that did happen or not. But in any regard, of course, the Imams alayhimus salam did do miracles, and the Prophet did do miracles, and I believe we've had a discussion on that in that regard prior. And that is not, of course, to in any way, shape, or form remove or ayadhan billah belittle or degrade their status. It is rather to
it's an honor.
Affirm. It's an affirmation of their honor in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and status that they're able to do these, that have been given the ability to do these miracles. However, not all miracles can be accredited, or not accredited rather, can be affirmed to a holy figure.
Okay, and the question was important to me. So I know that Sayyida Nisa Atul Alameen. I know Sayyida Zahra. She was, she's the centralization of all the imams. And Haqiqa Fatima, when it comes to just her nur being there for the pre-eternal dawn of creation. I just wanted to ask, has she ever had some karamats or miracles in her life? I know there was a scene in the movie where this is a trailer where she's talking, and then rain starts. The sky start thundering and roaring. But I'm not referring to that. Just in general, has she like showed her real reality ever like in her life, or was she more moderate, or just never wanted to just showed her knowledge or
No, rather there are some little that has been reached that has reached us. This is remember, this is a figure that's not much has been delivered about her. She only lived 18 years. Blessings be upon her. If she was to live a longer life, perhaps we would have received more of these reports. But her life was unfortunately cut by the criminal hands of Abu Bakr and Umar. By the horrendous attack that took place against her. But we have received some accounts, little in number, perhaps one or two, of some of the karamat, as you have mentioned, that occurred to the Lady of Heaven. And yes, inshallah, at a later time, where I can extract the narrations to present them in a later show, inshallah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brother Maitham. Inshallah, and next time we can continue, inshallah.
You too. No problem. Thank you.
No problem. No worries. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Brothers and sisters, we continue with our live coverage to the latest Lady of Heaven updates. Let us go downstairs. Let us prepare to go downstairs, inshallah, and see what the Fadak team have been doing and what are their updates and what are they doing as we wait to receive more media on the Lady of Heaven film. Let us prepare, inshallah, to go downstairs so that we cover what the Fadak team have been doing. In the meantime, as we prepare, I'm happy to receive your questions if you have them in the YouTube chat. Where is the movie available? It is available in the United States. Whoever has a question, I am now looking at the YouTube chat, and you may ask a question, inshallah.
We have an update.
Yes.
Sorry, let me just remember the brother's name. Brother Hanan has arrived at the theatre, and we have a little clip.
Brother Hanan, our reporter from Georgia, has sent us a video of him arriving at the theatre. Let us play it right now.
Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, brothers and sisters? I'm here to report. Well, I'm here to give a little report of, we got here, and the movie is actually at 9:40. You see where they're actually featuring it at. At the same token, we're going to go and let's try to get more feed and more interviews of other people and to see exactly what they thought and what's going on. We will continue these videos and keep you updated on what's going on. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. And I'll be back with you guys again shortly.
That was our reporter from the state of Georgia, Brother Hanan, at the AMC Theatre, awaiting for the film to be screened. And we will, inshallah, continue to update you with perhaps some of the interviews that will occur after the Lady of Heaven screening. Let us see, what other media have you received, Director?
We have several different bits of media, but I think you wanted to go downstairs. I'm sorry?
We have a second reaction from America, from
We
an
do.
individual who has watched the film. Let us display the clip, inshallah.
If you want to watch the real fact, what has happened in the history, you should definitely go and watch this movie. And I wouldn't call this a movie, but this is a reality. And everybody should go ahead and watch it.
Excellent, mashallah. We have just had this video received from a brother in the United States. After watching this movie, you can almost feel his spirits very high, in urging people to watch this film. And indeed, people should definitely seek to watch this film. If you are in a different country, if you are not in the United States, we would recommend, if you want the process to go faster, then go ahead and call your cinemas, express that you want to see the Lady of Heaven film in order to speed the process of the film being screened in your country. Let the people or these cinema companies recognize that there is a mass of people wanting to watch this film, and that will make the process faster, inshallah. Let us go downstairs. I want to go downstairs and take you with us, make you part of our journey, and show you what the Fadak team actually have been covering from their end as we wait for more media to pour in. Let's go, inshallah. Okay, we will be going, inshallah, at this time. As we see, brothers and sisters, this is the office that we are in. This is the hall of Yahya ibn al-Tawil. This is, of course, where we are. This is our setup here, and we'll be taking you downstairs now and covering what is the Fadak team doing from their end. Let's see. Assalamu alaikum. كيف الأحوال? Let's go downstairs. Let's go enter the hall. أخ يا الله. As we see, brothers and sisters, this is the Fadak team doing their part of their coverage. They are now live on Fadak TV. It is actually 1 a.m. in our time, if you can record the clock here. It is 1 a.m. We are continuing to cover the latest Lady of Heaven updates, noticing the time difference. There's a time difference between the UK and the US. Long hours from 4 all the way up to 9, I believe, across the states, are waiting for our reporters to get back to us. Some people or some individuals would like to watch the film early. Others would like to watch the film late, all the way at 9:15. That is a big gap. So as we get these updates, we need to keep live, and we are here with you. Long hours, perhaps today until Fajr, if we continue to have media to post, and if we continue to find our updates from our reporters, we will inshallah keep you updated. We recognize that you want to know what is happening. The film is screened at various states in the United States. However, people across the world, in Australia, Germany, Netherlands, Holland, even France, all the way to Russia, China, from around the world are waiting to watch this film. And we understand your eagerness, we understand your abundant will to watch this film, and we will inshallah be covering with you these events as a form of recompense, so that we may at least feed you with the latest updates as the film is being screened. This is the setup here, and as you see on the stage is Brother Abu Amiri. He's of the Fadak team. a presenter and the office manager of the office of Sheikh al-Habib on the screen right now, doing his part in sharing the latest updates of the Lady of Heaven film. Let's go towards the poster once again. Sorry? Let's catch Mahdi al-Hussein as we catch Muhammad Jawad yesterday. This is the poster once again for our new viewers. Let's take a closer look at the poster once again. Let's record the fist and the palm of the Messenger and Imam Ali alayhi salam as the nail is piercing the palm. This is the lady in the middle. Many people actually have asked about what is it that is dropping from the needle. They asked, they never knew that what was it until right now you can have your chance to see this is actually the drop of blood actually from the nail. A very elucidating event and image of what occurred to the Lady of Heaven and her sacrifice that she has made for Islam and the Muslims. You can see the lady here sitting in a dim light where she is praying, looking towards the skies. In the middle of these two hands, this is obviously the hands of the Messenger. This is the ring of the Messenger. Blessings be upon him. This is the ring of the Messenger that he wears. We actually think that we should denote here regarding historical accuracy is that we went to the extreme lengths that one can imagine with regards to the historical accuracy of this film, that we even denoted and made sure to depict every possible detail that we can with regards to the holy figures, to the extent that the ring of the Imam Ali alayhi salam, the ring of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the ring of the Prophet, for example, if it had a certain naqsh, what would you call that in English? Naqsh? Scratch or mark or they have a word, insignia, I think they call it, insignia. It will be depicted as you see in my ring here, for example. It has a signia, it has a mark, it has a certain writing. It says أعوذ بجلال الله أعوذ بكلمات الله أعوذ برسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. This is actually what the signia on the ring of the commander of the faithful was, Ali alayhi salam, according to a narration. As far as I remember, in the Lady of Heaven film, you would see that the ring of the commander of the faithfuls has a signia, and that is actually taken from the reports that Imam Ali alayhi salam had this signia on his ring. Now, you would be astonished to see the amount, the length that we went with the historical accuracy, and that really will as we proceed, as the film is available in various countries, where I'm sure certain individuals will try to come and try to analyze the historical accuracy, and there it will be our time to present these narrations, and that is definitely something that we are very eagerly looking for. And this is, as you see here again, the Lady of Heaven, and beneath you can see in gold, the Lady of Heaven, the untold story. And it's time, dear brothers and sisters, to ensure that the story is told, or it has been too long that this story has been hidden from the public. It's time to know the true face of terrorism and where it is founded, what are the roots to which terrorists today build their violent ideology on and from. We proceed, inshallah. As you can see, this beautiful, beautiful screen behind me. This is the trailer being played. Let's try to go take a closer look. Let's go take a closer look, inshallah. As you can see, I'm not sure if my voice is heard from the mic or from the. Okay, that's great. Sorry. Okay, excellent. Let's go. So this is This here, as you can see, this is the stage that is built here in the mined land of Fadak. And behind the stage is this beautiful screen that we have created, almost like a cinema, you can see, where it's displaying the trailer. If you want to feel a sense of, being in the cinema and feeling the Lady of Heaven. On screen, you can just look at this remarkable, beautiful screen where it's displaying the trailer. You can set the camera to the screen, but this is the Lady, blessings be upon her. Let's have a commentary on the trailer for the first time. I don't think we have done that. As you can see here, if we were to pose it, that would have been better. That's the beautiful scene of Ghadir. And this is where the Lady, blessings be upon her, is on our father's grave. This is the scene of the attack, or the first attack that occurred on the Lady, blessings be upon her. And this is the second violent attack that took place. And come a few months from now, or soon, where the world is speaking about this event. This is the Battle of Uhud, as you can see, this beautiful, beautiful battle of Uhud. Come in future, inshallah, where the world is speaking about the events of this film. Sitting with academics and relaying as to what are the sources to which we found the script upon. I'm sure the non-Muslims have been asking, is this a factual story? Is this real? Some are even questioning the lady's character is real or not. And it's time to reveal to them that rather it is a real fact that the character is not the figure. And indeed her stand is a form of inspiration for men to carry in their day-to-day lives. Of course, this is the scene where ISIS, breached the city of Mosul, and a thing that should be mentioned, although it comes very quickly, but look here, as you can see, when the people are fleeing away, you will see that ISIS formed or carried out a very disgusting, I would say, a very horrendous action of burning someone alive in a cage. And that was really to depict the violence that ISIS have carried out to people in this time. And it's very important that we clear Islam from these type of actions, very violent and vulgar actions that do not represent Islam. And we've heard this too many times, right? We've heard it too many times that these figures do not represent Islam. These figures are not representing Islam. These are free from Islam, and we've heard it from multiple speakers. But where do they take their legitimacy to do such actions? This is a question that should be posed. We understand that ISIS do not represent Islam. We understand that the actions are okay, but where do they take the legitimacy from? Why and from where do they found this ideology, this violent ideology from? And this is a question that really needs to be asked. And one day, close from now, Islam will be cleared from such ideology, and people are fully able to find the questions that they have been asking for so long. This film, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, from non-Muslim backgrounds, all those who are non-Muslim who are now watching, Christians, Jewish be they, atheists be they, let it be known that all the questions that you had about Islam for the past years, after seeing all of these actions being undertaken by ISIS, these violent actions, etc., if you want to know where do they come from, it's not from Islam, we understand. It's not from the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, we understand. But from where do these individuals legitimize their actions, watch this film. Watch the Lady of Heaven film right now.
Just like to
in
quickly
cinemas in
apologize
the
for
US,
the noise. I
and
know
there
that there
you
is
would
some
find your
glitching out with the
answers.
microphone. It's
And
because
there we proceed, inshallah.
they are
Let's
far
proceed
away right now, but
to,
hopefully when they start heading closer towards
go
the
forth.
office, the audio quality will
They're
get
having a
better.
break now. Fadak TV is having a break. They are displaying the same footage that we had just displayed. This is a brother that we had. Let's go closer. Okay, we are delayed. Okay, we had just displayed this footage prior on the show, and now it is being played in the US. Let us, inshallah, go upstairs once again. Let's see if we can catch one of the producers, one of the executive producers of the film. Let us see. This is Brother Hussein. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother.
Are you having a break, or did you conclude the live show?
No, we have
Finish.
a break, I think.
A break.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
So we clean up and
May Allah bless you. May Allah accept from you, inshallah. We will be coming back to you. We need to interview once, as we proceed, inshallah. May Allah bless you. Allah yabarak feekum. Let us go upstairs now. Let's see if we can catch one of the executive producers as we go forth. Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Mustafa. And yeah, okay, this is the Mahdi that we are after. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mustafa. How are you doing? Well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Muhammad Jawad. Well, inshallah. Let us see if we can catch Sayyid Mahdi. He seems to have retreated back to his office. He has made a retreat, a sharp retreat. Perhaps we can catch him at a different time. You want to catch him now? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Do you want to go inside the... Okay, Sayyid Mahdi, you are requested and demanded to come to us. You are live on the show. People are eager to have their questions answered. You can't be retreating from us all this time.
Tomorrow I'll be with you guys, inshallah.
Few quick questions.
Two quick questions? Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll have to look at the YouTube chat. What do you want to ask him? This man, just in case you don't know, he is the executive producer. Let's go by.
I'm
Let's
not
go
even
closer.
dressed properly. Come on, man, you got me off guard.
We had to.
You're doing some stuff.
We had to. No, you look fine. You're good, inshallah. No worries. This is the executive producer, inshallah, for a more professional interview to be had in the future.
Inshallah,
But you are demanded, brother. People want to know. People want to have their questions answered, and you have the answers.
Inshallah.
You know, we have to dig through sometimes to find the answers, even through,
He's
some
quite
unique
busy,
ones.
so let's throw one or two questions.
Let's see. What do we ask? That's the thing, is that we wanted to ask them questions that they pose. But let's see. Let's ask this important question. There's a question that has been posed by people who have watched the film, and they are wondering that what made you, this is non-Muslims, what made you do such films, and what is the overall motive behind this Lady of Heaven film that has been quite controversial, rather?
Well, what pushed us to make this project is, not a lot of people heard about this project. Everyone's heard of Fatima al-Zahra, alayhi salatu wassalam. She's the daughter of the Prophet. But what she went through, what her story is, what her message was to the Muslim Ummah, or to the whole world, you could say. She wanted to send a message to everyone, a message of peace. And in this film shows you the message of peace. There's you'll hear the Prophet salawatullah alayhi, talking about peace. Talking about peace and harmony within all religions. They should all live in peace with one another, wherever religions they are. While he was ruling, Arabia at that time. And everyone was happy with him. The pagans were happy with him. The Jews were happy with him. The non-Muslims, the Muslims, everyone was happy with him. The problem that happened is afterwards, and we're suffering with this problem till now. You still have these problems in the Middle East. Now look, you get people crossing the seas, dying between, trying to cross France, trying to cross, Greece, just to looking for a safer place to live in. Why? We need to understand, why are these people all leaving their country? Because they're oppressed. The oppression happened, this oppression happened to the daughter, to the Prophet's daughter, Fatima. After that, you know, the Middle East, you could say, you know, they had no more peace. They had no more peace. Until now, there's not peace in the Middle East. Because if there was peace in the Middle East, none of these people, you know, would leave their countries and they decide to go to Europe. Exactly. Why wouldn't they just go to so-called Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or UAE, Dubai? You know, we can go to Dubai. You know, us lot in the West, we can go there for holiday. But these poor people can't because they don't let them in. They don't let them in. They might send them back to their countries. And if they send them back to their countries, they could go to prisons. They could get executed. And you know, everyone went through this tragedy. Even in Europe, you know, we had these problems long time ago. But alhamdulillah, these problems are now, you know, they're gone in the West. The West is, you know, we're more open-minded. That's why we did this film in a unique way. Yes. We, you know, in this film, we're showing the Prophet in a unique way, in a CG way. You know, we're showing Imam Ali. You know, you see the holy characters in this film. Where you know, as a Muslim, if you ask Muslims straight, astaghfirullah, haram, it's the Prophet, haram, alarms. Where does it say haram, brother? Where does it say haram? My dad told me. You know. Where did your dad get this from? His granddad told him back at home in Iraq or Pakistan or I don't know where, you know. Yes. They told me it's haram. Okay, but where does it say in the books that, you know, it's haram? Where does it say in the Quran that it's haram? Nowhere. And you know, we're portraying the Prophet in such a beautiful way. Course, you know, yes. You're getting everyone everyone that's watching the film now, and the way they're reacting to the film. Alhamdulillah, they're blessed. They're thinking, wow, nothing's happened. You know, beautiful film. You know, they see in the message, you know, the look of the Prophet. You know, we went down to the narrations to get to you know, to the T to try and get it to this level. You know, to get the CG to this level. Alhamdulillah wa shukr, yeah, we did. Which is a blessing from Allah, and you know, and we want to share this story. You know, you got the, you know, we're here in the West. The West made a film about Jesus. Yes, you know, yes. Passion of the Christ, and other films. They've made a lot of films, but you know, Passion of the Christ was like a, you know, like a blockbuster film that made it in cinemas. Exodus as well. Exodus, you know, to them. These films, they came to we watched them, the whole world watched them, you know. They came to the Middle East, they went everywhere, and we all accepted them. And that's what we did. We made this film in a unique way, in a Western way, you know.
That is universal.
Yeah, that is universal to the whole world. And now, as you can see, you know, we're in the United States. I'm getting a lot of calls from America, alhamdulillah. They're telling me a lot of people are coming in here watching. Americans are coming in, watching the film, some of them even tearing up. You getting Chinese Americans going in, you know, Filipino Americans, Latino Americans, they're going in and they're watching this film. And that's, inshallah, we'll have this film soon in Europe. Inshallah, we're trying to work on getting it into the UK, now, into France, Germany, and elsewhere in the world.
I want to interrupt you here and tell the audience that you were there at the heart of the scene. You were there in Georgia. Yes. And you were in the midst of the most difficult scenes that were recorded. Can you give us an insight on a very difficult scene that was hard to achieve? Because many who have watched the film are actually eager to see the behind the scenes. Yes. Such beautiful scene like Hadith Kisa, such beauty that happened, and plus the battles that's occurred. Of course, we asked a question about the battle with Brother Muhammad Jawad. Now I want to ask you, let's say the scene of the attack, of the attack on the Lady of Heaven. It was done in a very, very effective way.
Of course.
We've got reports from people across the US stating that the cinemas were, you know, breaching in tears. There were whims and cries as the attack was proceeding. Now, can you give us an insight as to how you recorded this in such an effective way, and what were some of the challenges that occurred on that day?
I mean, there's a lot. You know, we went down to the T, you could say, you know, with the narrations. You know, we could have done it in another way, in a completely different way, but the way we did it is according to history. You know, you see this person, you know, comes in, he smashes you know, the door and so on, and the scene. I don't want to ruin it because it will be a spoiler. I want people to go and watch it.
course,
Yeah,
yes.
and it shows you, because a lot of people don't understand what happened. They'll say, okay, you know, why didn't Imam Ali do this? Or why didn't this happen? Why did Abu Bakr take the power? How did that happen? You know, everyone, we all know what happened in Bay'at al-Ghadir. Or over 80,000 people pledged their allegiance to Imam Ali. What happened to them? This film will show you what happened. Because you wouldn't understand until you watch the film, and then the film you'll start to understand. You think, okay, I can relate to that. So that's what went down. This is how they, this is how they tricked us. This is how they fabricated things. You know, Imam Ali and these other guys, they so-called companions. They were not friends. These people were chasing power. They knew the Prophet is going to be a powerful man one day. They looked at the Prophet as a king rather than a prophet.
Indeed.
Until now, we follow the Prophet. A lot of them, unfortunately, a lot of the Bakri brothers, they call themselves, they love the Prophet and everything. But when you tell them, okay, if you guys really love the Prophet, there is a lot of hadiths that that says, okay, Aisha tells the Prophet this, or for example, Abasa, the guy came to the Prophet, an old man came to the Prophet, and I told him, oh Allah, teach me, teach me, and the Prophet is giving him a that you look like, get out of here, and you tell them, okay, this ayah came on Uthman. They say, astaghfirullah, what do you mean it came on Uthman? Astaghfirullah, Uthman, But you told them, brothers, that's the.
You speak about the Prophet.
Yeah, you're speaking about the Prophet. This guy is better than Isa. This guy is better than Jesus. This guy is better than Musa. This guy is better than Noah. This guy is better than Sulaiman. This guy is better than Adam. This guy is better than all of them. He's Allah's best creation.
Of course.
Yeah. How dare you disrespect the Prophet so you can protect Uthman? Just so you can, Uthman, he was this and he was that.
Solid
really?
points.
Like, come on, man. Alhamdulillah, this film, we show you, with this film, it's not biased. Honestly and truly, it's not biased. Everything is there. It's in the so-called Sunni sect. Everything is there. It's in their box.
Yes.
All they need to, all the ones, inshallah, they go and watch this film and learn from it. At the end of the day, it's a film, Don't let them trick you like, back in the day, when they tell them, don't open a Shia book because there might be al-Kazam and you get hypnotized and then you'll convert to Shia. Just watch, watch this film, enjoy it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you go, you can go and check the history. Everything's down, everything is in your books. Have a look. If you're happy with it, you're happy with it. If you're not, you're not. There's a lot of films that are coming out there. I'm sure I'm not happy with. You're not happy with. But, we don't go around, saying, this and that, just watch the film, we're in the 21st century, learn, let us enjoy this film, enjoy living with one another, like we're doing here in the UK, like we're doing in elsewhere in Europe. Alhamdulillah wa shukr. I hope, inshallah, everyone who watched the film in America, they enjoyed the film, and I want to see some reviews, some reactions from them.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother Sayyid. Thank you very much. This has been a beautiful interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
We continue, inshallah, dear brothers and sisters. We continue in our live coverage. I believe that we have received an interview from Brother Hanan in the state of Georgia, where he has conducted an interview with one who has just watched the film. A lady from, I believe, either Mexican or Spanish, because I know that they are speaking in the Spanish language. One can see this video. If we can confirm from the director that the video has been received and is ready to be displayed.
It is, but would you like to react to it or would you like it to be on the screen?
Let us react to it, inshallah. Let us react to it as we proceed. So we have received, brothers and sisters, we have received a video from Hanan, our reporter in Georgia, and we will be awaiting the director to ready the video for us in order for us to comment on the video. Let us see. Once the director is ready, we can go ahead and display the video.
Just sang up.
Inshallah. Everyone is eager, mashallah. Everyone is eager to see this film, and we are covering live the updates as they come. As they come, inshallah.
It's ready.
The video is ready?
Yes.
Let us screen it, inshallah. Yes, please display the video. Let's it be the full screen, and then we'll come back to comment later on.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
We just watched the movie, the Lady of Heaven, the movie, and we're at the AMC, as you can see. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters. I'm actually doing an interview with someone who actually speaks Spanish, so I will actually be translating and then saying in English to her, and saying in Spanish to her, and saying in English to you guys. So, what did you think about the movie? ¿Qué pensaste del movie?
Muy bonita la movie, muy interesante. Me gustó conocer personajes de la movie como Ali y su esposa Fátima. Sí me gustó bastante. Me gustó bastante la movie, muy bonita. Felicitaciones. Y pues, Assalamu alaikum.
She's saying that basically that the movie actually was a beautiful movie. She liked the fact that she was able to see the movie of Ali and Fatima and this whole story, the tragedy, and she felt so bad for the tragedy itself. And she says that being that she loves everything about the movie. She's giving you guys a greetings because that's what she's trying to do as she sees me doing it at this moment. So inshallah, she loves the movie. She has good reactions with it. I'll be having more reaction movies to this next couple days, inshallah, and that way you guys will have live feeds of what's actually being said or being done. ¿Cómo se llama? So, ¿qué tú piensas de Islam? What is in your head, and what do you like about Islam? Do you know anything about Islam? ¿Tú conoces algo de Islam? Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
We just watched the movie, the Lady of Heaven, the movie, and we're at the AMC, as you can see. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
We just watched the movie, the Lady of Heaven, the movie, and we're at the AMC, as you can see. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters. I'm actually doing an interview with someone who actually speaks Spanish, so I will actually be translating and then saying in English to her, and saying in Spanish to her, and saying in English to you guys. So, what did you think about the movie? ¿Qué pensaste del movie?
Muy bonita la movie, muy interesante. Me gustó conocer personajes de la movie como Ali y su esposa Fátima. Sí me gustó bastante. Me gustó bastante la movie, muy bonita. Felicitaciones. Y pues, Assalamu alaikum.
She's saying that basically that the movie actually was a beautiful movie. She liked the fact that she was able to see the movie of Ali and Fatima and this whole story, the tragedy, and she felt so bad for the tragedy itself. And she says that being that she loves everything about the movie. She's giving you guys a greetings because that's what she's trying to do as she sees me doing it at this moment. So inshallah, she loves the movie. She has good reactions with it. I'll be having more reaction movies to this next couple days, inshallah, and that way you guys will have live feeds of what's actually being said or being done. ¿Cómo se llama? So, ¿qué tú piensas de Islam? what is in your head and what do you like about Islam? Do you know anything about Islam? ¿Tú conoces algo de Islam? ¿Conociste Islam antes? ¿Qué sabes de Islam? And what do you know about Islam? Do you know anything about Islam?
Que Dios está sobre todas las cosas, que Dios es poderoso y que nada más Dios existe y Dios es el creador de los cielos y la tierra. Nada más Allah.
¿Sabes algo? Nunca sabes nada del Islam? You didn't know anything about
No
Islam?
sé nada. No sé, apenas estoy empezando con el Islam por mi esposo, él me está enseñando, estoy leyendo el Corán en español y pues sí me está gustando mucho conocer la religión del Islam y pues con mi esposo espero conocer más del Islam.
And what do you think about the terrorism? ¿En qué tú piensas del terrorismo que viste en la movie que ahora existe este día hoy? And it exists today in this day and time. It happened 1400 years ago. Pasó hace 1400 años antes con primer víctima. The first victim fue Fátima, la hija, peace and blessings upon her, de la profeta. What do you think about? ¿Qué tú piensas del terrorismo? El terrorismo fue Fátima.
El terrorismo es algo...
La primera fue la Fátima, fue la primera persona que fue sufrir el terrorismo, la persona. She was the first one to suffer from terrorism. So what do you think of what do you
No
think?
estoy de acuerdo con lo del terrorismo. Por supuesto no lo veo como una cosa tan triste, es algo tan lamentable que exista el terrorismo y no pueda haber paz, amor, tranquilidad entre todos, ¿verdad? El terrorismo es lo más feo que puede existir en este mundo.
¿Qué tú pensaste del terrorismo que pasó en el movie? What do you think about the terrorism that happened in the movie?
Muy triste, la verdad muy triste. La verdad me puse muy triste cuando mataron a Fátima, cuando murió su papá. Sí. Y mataron a la mamá del niño. Cuando mataron a la verdad me puse muy triste. No es justo, ¿verdad? Que por el terrorismo sufran personas inocentes como ellos. Como ellos sufrieron, ¿verdad?
The other sect was actually the Sunni sect. The other secto fue los sunnis que mataron a la mamá. They killed her mom. Was the Sunnis actually?
Sí, pero todo eso incluye el terrorismo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Son terroristas, ¿verdad?
Well, basically, I was telling her what did she think about the terrorism that happened to the first lady, Fatima, peace and blessings upon her, 1400 years ago. She was the first victim, and she said, yeah, she cried, she felt bad for it. She felt bad for her. She said, especially in the beginning of the movie, when terrorism started from the beginning, when they shot the boy's mother in her head, and her name was Fatima, and they actually went to raise him. So basically, she's saying that terrorism is not good, especially with that side of the sect and what they've been doing and what they have done. So right now, this is a good movie to explain that, and inshallah, maybe it gets out to the hands of others who don't know anything about it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut the greeting down because it's late. Inshallah, maybe later, maybe the next type of day, I'll be able to say, I'll be able to talk to you guys and send another video, inshallah, next couple of days, if Allah wills it. Assalamu alaikum from Atlanta, Georgia, and from the movie, from the AMC movie, and she's giving the greetings. And assalamu alaikum to my brothers and sisters. Assalamu to you, brother Ali. We love you. Thank you for everything you have done. And we're actually gonna go ahead and cut down because it's late. Assalamu alaikum. She's saying hopefully you guys make more movies. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow, mashallah. I have just watched this very effective review from Brother Hanan in Georgia. I can see that the lady was very affected by what happened to Zahra salawatullahi alayha. You can almost see that when he mentioned terrorism, you can almost say that her eyes began to tear, and the emotion started to round up, as you can see in the eyes of Brother Hanan, very affected by the story. And it is amazing that this story and this film is universal from all aspects, bringing together the Muslim and non-Muslim alike. Indeed, Lady Fatima alayha salam is a universal figure. She is a figure who one should learn from and be inspired by. She is a figure who stood against oppression and tyranny and stood for justice, as her stand and her Fadak sermon illustrates. We are glad to see these reactions and reviews, and I would urge the brothers and sisters who have watched this film in the United States to contact us at the number displayed on the screen right now. As you can see, director has displayed the WhatsApp number on the screen. If you are in the US, please do contact this number and inform us as to what were the reactions of Muslims and non-Muslims alike upon watching the Lady of Heaven film, this unprecedented film about the Lady of Heaven, Fatima, blessings be upon her, and what occurred.
We have a caller.
We have a caller.
We do.
From where?
Brother Ali from America.
Brother Ali from America. Assalamu alaikum. Ali from America, can you hear it? Can you hear us? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, Brother Ali.
Thank you, brother. I've been trying to get in for so long. It took me like, ever since like the beginning of summer, I've been like trying to like reach you guys' team, but like I've never had like WhatsApp. So it took me so long just to come in. Alhamdulillah, Allah has released the movie and has also given you guys the chance to open the Zoom calls. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. We apologize for the delayed meeting, but finally, I guess, alhamdulillah, we have managed to reach you.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But I'd like to thank you, brother, your entire team, Sheikh Yasser al-Habib, everyone that was a part of this community. You guys have honored the Rawafid. You guys have destroyed the falsehood, and you guys have done something that I believe that Imam al-Mahdi would have been proud of you guys for. Inshallah. And I would also like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that He's given us, Rawafil, and how He has given us an opportunity to expose those individuals that have hurt Lady Fatima alayhi salam and abused her. It is so saddening to see her demise. I believe this is also in one of our books. Imam Ali and Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein alayhum salam, they left the house to go to the store, I believe it was, or get something, and the servant of Fatima radiyallahu anha, she was taking care of Lady Fatima, and Lady Fatima said she would go to bed. And when the family came back, they realized that Fatima alayhi salam was gone, and the two children started to cry. And I believe that is somewhere in our hadiths. When I heard the story of that, I heard that story, I began to cry, because imagine if your mother, that was your mother, and she died while she was praying to Allah. That is so just, it hurts the heart, ya akhi.
Indeed, dear brother. Indeed.
And yeah, and I would also like to shame those people from the so-called Sunni sect that have destroyed the name of Fatima, destroyed the name of Muhammad, destroyed the name of Ali, destroyed the names of the two imams for this world to see. I would like to tell you, Ahlul Bid'ah, or the Bakri sect, that you guys are nothing but shreds of al-Baghdadi. the terrorist. You guys have defamed Islam. You guys have hurt Islam. And you guys given us, the Shia, the blame for it. You have blamed everything you guys have done on us. And we're taking the blame for it. And we're still trying to revive Islam. And you guys are still waiting for your false Mahdi when our Mahdi is already here for us. And we will proclaim his name. And we will end, and I repeat, we will end the sect of terrorism that you guys have created.
Indeed, we will, inshallah. We will clear the name of Islam from these heinous actions which the terrorists commit in our day, finding their legitimacy from the teachings of Abu Bakr and Umar and Aisha. Allahumma ameen. Dear brother Ali, you are from America. Have you watched this film?
No, brother. From where I'm from, the movie has not come out, and me and my mother are very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. But alhamdulillah, I believe one day we will see it in our city. We will watch it, and alhamdulillah, we will proclaim the name of Fatima.
Inshallah, inshallah. Can you confirm which state are you from?
I would rather not say it, but I would say it's near the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
We are. I would say that we are near the Washington, Oregon, California area.
Yes. That's understood. I understand. I understand. No worries. Inshallah, if you can resume contact with this number that is displayed on the screen, ending in 641, and the team, inshallah, the brothers would send you a link to specify where is your closest AMC theater. I don't imagine that there will be a very far theater from your location, perhaps 1 to 3 hours long. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. I know individuals who had flied out of the country, actually from Saudi Arabia, which is known as Saudi Arabia, to go and watch this film. And they've watched it and they've said it's worth every moment, every second. I'm sure you'd say the same. Dear brother, go ahead.
So what I would like to also add, if I'm not wasting you guys' time, is that I've been bullied by many Sunnis in my school, and I'm actually signing up for a leadership in our school, because in Western countries we have that sort of leadership for our school, and I signed up, and then the Sunni, a Palestinian Sunni, he's been hurting me very much. He keeps on insulting me on how religious I am and how I'm trying to run. And I ask you all to pray for me that inshallah he will leave me alone, and him and his annoying friend group would also leave me alone, because I'm trying to teach others about my religion, and I am scared that they might judge me for that.
You said that an individual is bullying you or harassing you because of your faith?
Because of my faith. I'm a Shia and they are a Sunni.
Are they harassing you from the standpoint that you are Shia, or just because, of, certain, personal conflicts?
I believe it's just because I'm Shia, because I've never really talked to these individuals as much. One of their friends, she came up to me.
If you can give me my phone, please, quickly, because I need to pull up a narration. The brother actually mentioned something very, very important, and I'd like to seize this opportunity to present this narration. You may proceed, Brother Ali. Thank you.
Yes. Another student who was also Sunni, she came up to me last month, I believe it was, and she told me to go kill myself, and that really affected me. But I also realized that she's nothing. Where she's from, she's just like sheep hay. She's nothing. All she is someone who Allah sent down for me so he could test my patience. And alhamdulillah, I passed the test and told Allah that I'm patient.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Dear brother, I wanna assure you of something. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon seeing a creation of His getting harm or receiving harm because of his faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in multitudes rewards him, or rewards them. It is narrated in Tafsir al-Qummi from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, if a believer was harmed for his loyalty to us, if a believer was harmed in his loyalty to us, in the Arabic it states, see if we can get this. أيما مؤمن مسه أذى فينا فدمعت عيناه حتى تسيل دموعه على خديه من مضاضة ما أوذي فينا صرف الله عن وجهه الأذى وآمنه يوم القيامة من سخطه والنار. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, a believer who is harmed for his loyalty to us, because he has loyalty to al-Muhammad alayhi wasallam, he is harmed. These individuals, because they see this individual as a Shia to Ali, a Shia to Fatima, a Shia to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa and the infallible grandsons. So they go and harm him or harm them. A believer who was harmed for his loyalty to us and sheds tears, he begins to cry, or they begin to cry because of this harm, from the harm inflicted upon him or them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will safeguard them from all harm on the Day of Judgment. Allah Almighty will keep them safe from His displeasure and hellfire. This is a sak, this is a promise given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Almighty, on the tongue of Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, who is the truthful, al-Sadiq Sadiq al-Izrah, salawatullahi alayhim ajma'in, that if one is harmed because of their loyalty to them and begins to shed tears because of this bullying, because of this harassment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will safeguard them on the Day of Judgment from hellfire, and according to other narrations, Allah will make them have a sense of dignity. Al-Mu'minu Aziz, a believer is always dignified despite being harmed. And our example of that is the example of our Imams alayhim as-salam. For they were, all types of oppression was falling upon them. They were killed, they were oppressed, they were put aside, they were in prisons. Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam spent over a decade in prison, in a cell that does not see sunlight, in a dark cell, a small cell in the dungeons underground, in the prisons of Harun al-Rashid, Harun al-La'in rather. This matter really is an example to us, for we are in this path. This matter is normal for us. Having harm towards us is something that is normal. We are used to it, and it only increases our steadfastness and our firmness upon our creed. They think that with their bullying and with their, their antagonist approach to us, they would be, if we can sort out the technical issue, Brother Subhan, I will continue inshallah. If they think that they would be able to make us deterred from our faith via this type of bullying, then they shall be slapped to be awakened, that this matter only increases our strength. This matter only increases our firmness. For we are promised by the tongue of Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam that if we were to be harmed because of our loyalty to them, then we are assured paradise. We are assured by the tongue of Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them stop whatever they are doing to you. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you abundantly. For know that you are upon the right path. For it is only natural that a individual, when walking in this path, to receive such harm. May Allah accept from you, inshallah, and reward you,
Allah, inshallah,
and protect you to become a da'i, a propagator to Shia Islam, leading your way, inshallah, to paradise with Muhammad and his purified progeny. Blessings be upon them.
Inshallah ta'ala. And I really appreciate your words, Brother Ali. I also wanted to add that I'm literally the only religious person in my school. Everyone keeps on eating. For example, the Muslims, they don't restrict themselves from halal and haram. They just eat whatever they think is beneficial for them. Yeah,
that's very
alhamdulillah.
Unfortunate. Eating haram can make someone lose his self and to commit the most heinous of actions. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam stood there on the day of Karbala and proclaimed that you are only able to kill me because that your stomachs have been filled with haram. Eating haram has an effect on individuals, makes them lose their morality. Inshallah, they can, with your advice, inshallah, and with you working towards islah in your community to rectify these matters, inshallah, they would heed from your advice and stop this matter, inshallah.
Inshallah, I actually hope one day when I'm near the age of 50, I'll go into the hawzat, because my father is a sheikh, and I will, inshallah, yeah, inshallah. I'd also like to thank Brother Subhan for his amazing work today, and your amazing work as well. Everyone in the Rafida team, yeah.
May Allah bless you, inshallah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
May Allah bless you as well.
May Allah
في أمان الله حبيبي.
في حفظ الله. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Alhamdulillah. This is a matter that really should be learnt from. That one is not deterred when harm comes to him because of his faith. One should remain firm and continue persisting, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them in multitudes.
Brother, I think it's time we wrap up the show.
Okay, I guess that's all for today.
Yeah.
However, I know that there is a video or two, let's say, that we have received upon the individuals watching the film. If we can,
we do
display one video. Let's display one video and we leave the rest for tomorrow, inshallah.
Great. Would you like to
display it now? Yes, let's display it now.
Sure. I'm just gonna need a minute to set
Sure.
up.
Dear brothers and sisters, we will be back with you tomorrow. Tomorrow is our final day of live coverage. Tomorrow is our final day of live coverage where we will be covering once again the latest updates of the Lady of Heaven film. All across the world who are watching me now, eager to know of the latest updates, tomorrow is your final day. Tomorrow is the final day. I will be hosting an executive producer and we will have your questions asked. We will be giving you the final day. All those who are watching me now, ensure that you are with me tomorrow. Basically, we can say that a good portion of the show will be dedicated to you and your questions answered by an executive producer to the Lady of Heaven film.
Would you like to react to it, or do you want me to just put it?
Let us display it, inshallah, and we will be back.
Sure.
Getting ready to watch Our Lady of Heaven. Really excited to watch this movie today, to understand the true history of our Shia faith and overall Islam in general. We've seen the trailer, amazing production, amazing effects, really up to the par of standards of American Hollywood movies. So we're really excited. Inshallah, Allah give reward to everybody who made this movie happen through their donation and their hard work.
This is the brother before watching the film. He has went to the cinema and we've received this video, and we have also received his video after watching the film. Now that you have watched his before, let's watch his after. If we can confirm that the video is ready, it's number 2.
Yeah, I found it.
Let's get it, inshallah. Let's display it to the audience.
One moment.
Sure. So we've listened to his before. You can see the excitement, you can feel the excitement on the brother, very clearly noticeable. And now let's watch his after watching this very, very effective film. Let's see what was his reaction.
So we just came out after watching The Lady of Heaven. What an unbelievable movie, outstanding direction, effects, the acting. And I think it really just goes to show you the hidden history, the secrets in the history that people feel are too contentious, will create more conflict. But I think this is inspiring and intriguing in a way that a lot of people who feel they are following a certain path, it will inspire them to dig into their own books to find this information, because this is all accurate. This is on both sides of the aisle and on both divisions. From a recommendation standpoint, I think another thread of history that they should have added, it would have really connected the entire thread in general. If they would have added the hadith of the qalam and warqa, which is the calamity of Thursday, when Prophet asked for a pen and a piece of paper and he was not given that, I think that would have added a little bit more context and texture to the overall story, portraying what really happened and how it really shifted the direction of Islam. I liked how it started and how it ended, because you can relate to the current events and the times that we live in today, and really connected to where the tyranny and the oppression really began. So really good job. May Allah give a ton of reward and blessings to everybody who take part in it. And we feel blessed to be able to have the opportunity to see it in the comfort of our hometowns and in this beautiful theater. So thank you. So we just came out after watching The Lady of Heaven. What an unbelievable movie, outstanding direction, effects, the acting. And I think it really just goes to show you the hidden history, the secrets in the history that people feel are too contentious, will create more conflict. But I think this is inspiring and intriguing in a way that a lot of people who feel they are following a certain path, it will inspire them to dig into their own books to find this information, because this is all accurate. This is on both sides of the aisle and on both divisions. From a recommendation standpoint, I think another thread of history that they should have added, it would have really connected the entire thread in general. If they would have added the hadith of the qalam and warqa, which is the calamity of Thursday, when Prophet asked for a pen and a piece of paper and he was not given that, I think that would have added a little bit more context and texture to the overall story, portraying what really happened and how it really shifted the direction of Islam. I liked how it started and how it ended, because you can relate to the current events and the times that we live in today, and really connected to where the tyranny and the oppression really began. So really good job. May Allah give a ton of reward and blessings to everybody who take part in it. And we feel blessed to be able to have the opportunity to see it in the comfort of our hometowns and in this beautiful theater. So thank you.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. It is truly uplifting to hear the brother's words. Outstanding. he said, MashaAllah, it is truly something that is very remarkable, and words do escape from giving the moment it's right. Alhamdulillah, finally, the story of the Lady of Heaven is finally told after a millennium of suffocation, suppression, killing those who narrate it, exiling them, imprisoning them, torturing them. Yet now it is out, and it is definitely a story which shall be illustrious and elucidating to many around the world. Dear brothers and sisters, I will inshallah be concluding this show. This is the second live coverage that we have done, and tomorrow we will be back with the final live coverage on the Lady of Heaven film. Brothers and sisters, I urge the brothers and sisters to be with us tomorrow. Tomorrow is our final day. We will have an executive producer seated right beside me, and it will be your show. Every question, prepare your questions from now. Everyone who is listening, prepare your questions from now, and tomorrow will be the chance for you to pose them to the executive producer. And until tomorrow, inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.